nervous, automated, like data running through my veins. Got you distracted, subconscious overloaded. Careful, don't pull the cord on me. No time to stay around. Keep walking till you get out of my face. Regrets, restricted access. I'm just a flight to get up in ya. We know it's charging. I'm gonna waste my time with someone slowing me down, 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 down. So high, I'm floating. I'm shining in my prime. Start rolling over 'cause you can't take my crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. My crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. Can't take my crown. Can't take my crown. Can't take my crown. Rewind my circuits, but you don't get that courage, 'cause you can handle my game. No, my drive's a puzzle. I got you so bumfuzzled, 'cause you can fall into my pain. No time to stay around. Keep walking till you get out of my face. Regrets, restricted access. I'm just a flight to get up in ya. We know it's charging. I'm gonna waste my time with someone slowing me down, 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 down. So high, I'm floating. I'm shining in my prime. Start rolling over 'cause you can't take my crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. My crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. Can't take my crown. Can't take my crown. I won't waste my love on your heart. Sorry, 'cause I can't get what I want, and I don't need ya. It's charging. I'm gonna waste my time with someone slowing me down, 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 down. So high, I'm floating. I'm shining in my prime. Start rolling over 'cause you can't take my crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. My crown. I'll always be 10 feet off the ground. Can't take my crown. Can't take my crown. Can't take my crown.
We're live now? Okay,
Oh,
excellent.
sorry. Yeah, usually I do the countdown thing, but we're looking into this
We're
person.
talking.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Hello.
My audio appears to be a little blown out.
Roxy Revenet. I don't believe we know you. No, this is the first time you've talked in here.
Well, hi,
welcome.
welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Hi, Brandon. Hi, V Twin.
Here, let me take down the gain a little bit. All right. How does that sound? How you doing, Sai?
You're a little quiet for me now, or is it
Yeah,
because
you do sound quiet? Let me put you.
Well, it's
I'm
Is it
really
because you're
loud
turned away?
with him though. I'm like
I think
stream it.
I think it would be me who needs to turn you down, unless you do it yourself. Cause
Yeah, you
they're
turn me
only
down,
hearing
Trev, and I'll
you
turn
loud.
myself back up. Okay.
Well, I don't know if I can do that in the middle of this.
Looking fresh.
But yeah, you can just right click on my face. It's all good.
You might have noticed Rory has gotten a haircut.
Doesn't
Yeah,
he
I
look
did.
awesome?
Wait, hold on.
You're
Where
sweet,
did I-
Morgan.
I have you at 170 for whatever reason. Alright,
Oh yeah, well that explains it.
Whoa.
There we go. Well, no, I had to
Um,
lower him, and he was like, just click on my face.
Trying to see what's up. Networking, you know the deal. The fair play, fair play.
Oh yeah, so what we do here is we talk about gaming news. We usually have a guest. Every once in a while, though, we don't have a guest. So sometimes it's just us. I am Morgan. If you want to introduce, I do JRPGs.
And her Twitch
And-
name is below. It's Matsuo Moria.
Yeah, you
That's
can find
awesome.
links to
I
all
have
our
to
channels
watch.
down there in the about.
We are all streamers here, by the way, yes.
Yeah, we're all streamers. Trev is there on the top left. He streams from time to time, and when he does, he streamed action games
I am
before.
more consistent on this channel than I am my other channel, but
True story. He streamed DMC3, Monster Hunter World, Bayonetta. He loved that. And all sorts of stuff. He's very skilled at the games he plays. I recommend giving him a follow. On the bottom left there is Melly, one of my favorite Twitch streamers and an excellent variety streamer. She's been playing Final Fantasy VII on hard and also been running through Dead Space. I think on Saturdays. I think Saturdays
Yeah.
is your day for that. And
That was
I'm
enough for me.
Rory.
I don't know why I did
and
that.
she's
I
about to
never
get
did.
a new computer.
I'm also known as Talktopus. You can find a link to my channel down below. I stream stealth games and talk about how amazing my girlfriend is. And occasionally I'll play an RPG, but it's a rarity.
We are also part of the awesome True Variety team. So if you want to check out any of the people in that link, they're all super awesome content creators and streamers that definitely deserve a checkout. So just play games with the passion put into them, the ones where you feel the love in them, and the ones that pull you in. Oh yeah, that's definitely me with a lot of the games that I like to play. Ghostface is here. Ghostface, hi.
How are you, my friend?
Roxy, did you just stumble across us, or do you know someone we know, or do you just like browse the different categories on Twitch? What's the backstory?
Give us the
Trev
lore.
wants the lore, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, as Rory would say.
I totally don't have Girl Scout cookies in the shot.
Hey, those are American Girl Scout cookies are actually really good.
He ate like 2 boxes of them when he was here. Some lacrosse been trying to promote my channel. Oh yeah, I can understand that. Let me actually. I need to go into streamer mode real quick because.
Yeah,
Oh, is
what
this
do you think?
what is this emote? I don't have this emote, Rory.
It's
Talk to lore is a tier 3.
Oh, it's tier 3.
The,
behind that
so-
wall.
I
Pew, hi Pew.
I love all the emotes, and I wish they were like I could have them all in the tier 1.
I feel like that
because
should be
they're
an
all really
option.
cool.
Like, if you're not going to use the tier 2 or 3 slot, you should be able to transfer those to tier 1.
Yeah, like
I would love that option. I think Twitch needs to include that ASAP because what was it Zippy wanted? Zippy really wanted Talk to Hide. Right? He loves that
He
one,
does.
right?
He-
And
and,
that's a tier 2 emote.
that's
Tater also really
Do
likes that
affiliates
one.
get bit
Hey, Ice
emotes
Dragon.
now?
So this is the Talk to Hide if you know.
I believe they do now. Yeah, I think they do.
Okay.
Hey, Zippy.
But again, that's another,
Hey,
that's
Dragon.
another like,
Everybody's
paywall.
struggling. Yeah,
You,
look
how
at
are
this.
you?
Ice Dragon, hi.
Probably not going to be here for long. No worries, Corrupt.
That's
Also,
all right,
guys,
Corrupt.
we have
always
new
nice to see
emotes.
everybody.
We
Good to
have
see
3
you.
now.
We do, guys.
Yeah, we have 3 emotes. So Trev did the emotes.
We're getting legit, guys.
So credit to him there. So we have the NOS can for all you Fast and the Furious people who don't like the tuna here.
have this
And we have the kind of like Dark Souls emote, and we have the SBH logo emote. You guys sure were playing Overwatch? Yeah, we played for. Who remembers what time we started? We played for a few hours. Yeah.
I think
yeah,
we started
played a
around
little
like
bit.
5:30 for me and Rory, but
Did you
Yeah,
guys
I'm
thinking- I'm
doing
thinking of
like
this one.
custom games at all, or just
No, we
existing?
just kept doing
no, we just did
Yeah.
zigzag.
Yeah, kept doing quick play. Yeah.
Nos gave you life from 20. I used to drink Nos.
That is a haircut corrupt. I cut my own hair. It was a risky decision, but it was okay.
Did you follow a tutorial, or were you just like?
I watched
winging it?
a tutorial that was like did one of the techniques I used, and then I just replicated that technique over different lengths of hair. So it has 2 fades instead of 1 fade. I think technically.
He looks so handsome.
You're sweet.
He sent me a picture of Ryan Reynolds. Was like, "Do you think I could pull this off?" And I was like, "Sure."
A haircut, to be clear.
It's like, do you think I could bag Ryan Reynolds? Like, I mean, you do you.
So you're saying there's a chance.
I mean, they're both Canadian.
That is true. They have that going for them. Look, maybe if you hit up Stephen Amell, he can introduce you to Ryan Reynolds.
The biggest compliment I ever received was one of Melly's viewers said that for like ambassadors for Canada that Keanu Reeves was the face and I was the voice, and no one's ever topping that for compliments. That's my favorite compliment I've ever received.
Thank you so much for also stopping by, Roxy. It's really it's nice to meet new people. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you have a good
I think
rest
they
of your
just
rest of your
Terraria
evening.
with like a bunch of stuff. I think that's
Yeah,
what
they're doing a bunch of stuff. I know that Sanshi, who is a company that I like to follow, they usually go to PAX every year. They're kind of like Fan Gamer, where they have like gaming merchandise for stuff. And I guess now they just announced that they are going to be working with the makers of Terraria to like bring like some merchandise and stuff to fans. So I thought that was pretty cool. I miss going to PAX.
Someone, yeah,
Oh, yeah, we could mention that too. Earlier today, I think it was either today or yesterday, they announced the cancellation of BlizzCon 2020.
They did, yeah.
A good call.
We could all see coming because
The
stuff's
thing
not
about an
going
event
away.
like BlizzCon, now I've never been to a BlizzCon to experience it, and I'm sure you miss a lot by physically being there. It's plausible you can at least announce the things you would announce online,
Yes.
which is, hopefully that maybe they do an online equivalent.
It can kind of be like or Game Award or whatever, the E3, I think, where they just have the trailers and they just release them at a specific time and then like get them up.
Later on we definitely want to talk about the E3 replacement thing because that's a curious thing to me. But
I think they said because last year they did a thing with virtual tickets where you could virtually go to BlizzCon, which I don't know.
Yeah,
how
that's
that
right.
worked,
Yeah.
Where it was like, I don't know if you had like Google Earth and like you just like physically go through the thing, or like you had.
I don't remember exactly what the virtual tickets did, but I know there was like some, and you got some of the rewards that like you would get, like exclusive, I don't know, skins or whatever it is.
You got 2 skins for Overwatch and like some other stuff for like other Blizzard games.
Tonight's guest is kind of the chat. Yeah. So this is actually we've had less of these podcasts
Standard
than we would have
format.
expected.
Yeah.
I kind of expect like this was kind of the default, and it was like, oh, sometimes we'll have a guest, but
Yeah, it was
so
supposed
that's
to
such a good
be.
response.
I think it was supposed to be once a month we have a guest. But
Yeah, I
lately
think that
we've
was
just
right.
been,
And then it
Oh,
became
right, I
every
remember
week
that.
we have a guest.
What? Oh, someone redeemed the bed check?
Nice.
Yeah.
Show the bed, show it off.
Yes, and it was like, I think what it was is like we had really good response from the guests, and like a lot of them wanted to be on again, and then we had people who were like, oh, I want to be on, like people who I
originally we
didn't
had
think would want to be on.
application process that I was really proud of, and then after a while I was like, all right, we can't.
What
have
have
this
you done with
application
my friend
process
Rory?
anymore.
Hi
Ash.
SGH, I want
Who
you
is
to.
Marna?
I actually
is this
no,
a
I actually
setup?
know. I actually think I know who Ash is talking about.
Yeah,
Um,
from her friend that was on American Idol.
Oh, right.
That's
okay.
right. Yeah.
Okay, see, I couldn't tell if this was a setup. Like, can you interview my friend Dragon? And then she was following with like Dragon. These
No,
nuts or
she was,
something.
like,
look,
contestant on-
it's either or with Ash, right? It could have been one or the other.
Oh, actually, Ash, we have a channel points thing, a redeemed channel points. I mean, it's sort of like the
That's more there for us to like network with people, as opposed to like it's more of a thing for other people who think they'd want someone they see and like watch to be on here, as opposed to whatever.
What is Play With Us? I have absolutely no idea what that is.
If you click on all of these,
Ash has carte blanche to suggest people.
yeah, if you click on these, it'll have descriptions that'll tell you what they.
Can someone click on it and tell me what Play With Us is?
I think the description is like if we're playing a game that requires or it can be played with more than 4 people, then
like
you can play with
Overwatch or
us,
Monster Hunter World usually is what it is.
Can I do an early channel point submission?
What
You
is-
mean like
what does that
I
mean?
think he means like redeem it now and like take the rewards of it later, I assume?
Sure, I mean, why not?
Oh, submit to raid. Yeah, I mean, as long as they're still on by the time, you might want to wait on that one for what you call it.
Exactly, see, goes. Oh, submit to raid.
So today being one of the sort of more traditional podcasts, I guess, the intention, we wanted to talk to you about a bunch of different sort of news stories today, which we had collected and found out about. And as always, by the way, like, just because we don't have a guest on here doesn't mean you can't ask us questions. Ask us all the questions you want. I want to first address what Sai said about the Ferguson fight, which is, yes, that was absolutely heartbreaking. And huge credit to Justin Gaethje, who did amazing. I was very sad to see Tony lose after a win streak that has gone so many years long. It's 12 fights or something like that. It was crazy. Impatience is my virtue. So here, I actually don't have the Google Doc up. I'm thoroughly unprepared.
I don't either, if I'm being honest.
Wow.
Like I know it
Wow,
exists.
I see,
but like,
okay, I'm copying pasting into the DM.
Oh, okay, yeah. I
Oh.
added some things on it. That was my contribution.
I know it's
Don't worry,
pinned.
guys, it's all here.
I did have it up. I am prepared. But yeah, I mean, at least one of the things we could start with is, again, like what we're playing right now, and definitely know what Melly is playing, which is 1,000,000 hours of Final Fantasy.
At 4 in
Yeah.
the morning,
5 in the
making
morning.
Karen
It
stay
keeps
up
getting
all that
later and
time.
later. At first it was 3 a.m., then it became 4 a.m., now it's 5 a.m.
Yeah, poor Karen just doesn't sleep anymore, apparently.
I have a question about Final Fantasy VII for Melly.
Sure.
When-
Fire away.
So on some of the like communities I like browse like on the internet, like the fighting game community, some of those people played the Final Fantasy VII remake, and
Yeah.
all of them hated it, but everyone I know who streamed it loves it. Like Ash, I believe, finished it and said this might be the greatest game I've ever played. And you also really enjoy. Like, why
Yeah.
is it so divisive? If you can analyze
if you're
without spoiling.
Well, it's interesting you said fighting game community because, like, I think
I
that's
feel like
probably
that's not their, like forte. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like
well,
that's
I
out of
mean,
their-
the whole point, not the whole point, but the central part of Final Fantasy VII is the combat system, which is obviously a mix of turn-based combat and then just like real-time combat. So
Mhm.
I'm assuming it's like some of the turn-based.
I thought they did a
options.
really good job with that, like a balance
Yeah.
between the two, because it doesn't feel too much of one or the other. Like you can play it as all just free
I think
flow,
they
but
integrate it really seamlessly. I think it works really well together. And I have to say, I'm actually really glad I'm replaying it on hard because it's making me like kind of have to dive into the combat system a lot more than I did the first
well,
time.
when
So
you're using
I
iron bangles, you have to be better at.
yeah, and I actually have to know what armor and accessories I'm using. No, like because it's the first time I just wanted to kind of enjoy the story, and it's really easy to just kind of cruise through most of the combat and like sort of like button mash and like just use basic attacks and basic spells and items and stuff and kind of not have to learn the intricacies of the combat system. So I'm like really enjoying having to do that on hard because you have to. So like so in hard you can't use items at all. So you can't use potions to regenerate your health. You can't use elixirs to regenerate your MP. So you have to manage your MP a lot more strategically. So that's been an interesting challenge. So I also in the second playthrough I've been doing all the dialogue in Japanese, which has been a different experience. So yeah, I'm really enjoying playing it. I think it might be one of the best games I've ever played also.
Okay, so you have a similar. I'm curious about that actually, because so what's happened on hard by not allowing you to use items is they've really fundamentally changed the nature of the game. Usually when you up a difficulty, it's usually something sort of more, I don't know, something less creative, where it's
Usually
like the enemies have more health and you do less
yeah,
damage.
You take, yeah, exactly.
You take more damage, stuff like that.
It's kind of interesting because
No
it feels
auto save.
hard. Yeah, exactly. On
Yeah.
hard now, it's not just like this is a harder version. It's like this is a completely different gaming experience. I feel like that probably ups the replayability. And would you say that's accurate now on your second replay?
Yeah, because honestly, so I feel like this is like the progression. So the first time I'm just like there's a lot to take in. This is my first Final Fantasy game. Never played a Final Fantasy game. Don't often play JRPGs in general. So I was just basically the first time I'm enjoying the story, getting to know the characters, getting to know the world, enjoying the combat, enjoying the environments. And I feel like the second time through, I'm getting to notice little details that I missed the first time, which has been really cool, especially like in the dialogue. And then on top of that, obviously learning the combat more intimately, I think has been. But now, I mean, I still feel like I'm barely getting a handle on it, and so now it's like, yeah, the third playthrough, eventually, if I ever do this, will actually be like, okay, I feel proficient and comfortable, and now I can play at a harder difficulty, and then also enjoy the story again. So, yeah, I mean, I probably won't replay it until probably before this part 2 comes out.
I was like,
it's gonna be a long
time.
I'm
gonna wait.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait. But I can definitely see myself playing it again, especially if I end up wanting to plat it. But I don't know. I might just do that here and there and work on it, you know. But yeah, so I agree. I think the game has a lot of replayability for sure. So I've also been playing Dead Space for the first time.
Yes, how is that going? That's a wonderful game.
How old is that game? Do any of you know?
12 years.
12?
Came out
I mean, it was
in
on PlayStation 3. So.
2008, I think.
Yeah, it came out in 2008.
Yeah.
That's newer than I thought. I thought it was older.
I absolutely love this game. I love that it really just tosses you into the fire and is like, figure it out. Like, there's these monsters coming after you, and like, you know, you're just kind of like, you know,
did you get
stumbling
swayed
through.
to play that on hard or whatever the like hardest difficulty was?
Yeah,
I agree. It is a classic. Agreed, Si.
Yeah, so I there's this new pattern. You know, I can be talked into playing things on hard for the first time, which is a good challenge. And honestly, I think again, like it's a faster way to like having to learn how to actually play the game well. So I think it's been great playing it on hard. It feels challenging. Yeah, when I spent like 2 hours just trying to beat one boss. But I think I think it's just such a unique concept for a game. You know, like in typical zombie shooting games, it's like go for the head for the kill. You know, or you know, just shoot him in the head, shoot him in the body.
X amount of damage into them, and then they die.
This is such a simple, like concept for a game. Like, no, it's like you have to shoot their limbs off. But it's such a unique, like. Aspect of the game that it's just so different from any other game I've ever played. So it combines elements of games I really like Resident Evil, Alien Isolation, but it is like its own distinct thing. So yeah, it's great. I can't wait to play more of it. So
the thing Dead Space gets right, like almost more than any other horror game I've ever played, is like the speed at which you move. Like you're not, like Melly knows from playing, you're not like super fast and agile. In Dead Space, and like you need to take time to actually line up the correct shot to actually take an opponent's limbs off, like even just a basic opponent. And I think like the speed helps with like the feeling of like helplessness.
Yes.
I can't.
So you can't just jump in if you play like some shooter or whatever and just start taking headshots all over the place. It just doesn't work like that.
And Melissa was just like, I'm out of ammo. I'm out of ammo. I'm out of ammo.
Constantly out of ammo because I'm not lining
How
up
are
my
you supposed
shots.
to kill these things?
I'm just panicking, panic shooting. No,
most of the time though, like whenever, like I have been loving being able to watch Melly stream again because like I have her like on in the background whenever she does Final Fantasy, but I can't watch because of spoilers. So whenever she plays Dead Space, I'm like, yes, I can watch Melly actually and interact. And the entire time, I am just that.
Yeah.
The whole time. This game is so gross.
It's like having Voldo up on screen all the time.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Why? What? I didn't. What prompted that?
Yeah, why?
I like how no
does-
one mentioned
how does-
Persona.
How does Ice Dragon know about that command?
And then
Because we showed them off one day.
Oh, well.
Sorry,
Is
carry
there
on,
an
Melly.
FF7? No, is there?
Is there an FF7 one for Melly? Yeah, there should be one.
Gosh, it's like we haven't caught up in a while because we haven't done one of these episodes like this.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
also finished, well, mostly finished Dark Souls 3 with the DLC.
Yeah, we still gotta kill Minion.
I still haven't beaten Midir, which is an optional boss in the DLC, and it's keeping me up at night.
I did
because of my
that
failure.
fight twice solo, and like when I was trying to help you, I don't know for the life of me how I did it solo.
Well, I looked into it because I looked up strats. I'm like, how do I beat this thing? And everybody is saying don't summon for it because it's actually much hard.
it's
Like the way
easy.
yeah, because the way you have to attack it, it's actually more like it's less advantageous to have
it's
another
more
person there.
attack the
Not
head
not even
focused.
just
So like
Yeah,
if you
the
have
way
multiple
that
people,
attacks get
it's
focused.
constantly over the place.
right. So, I think I will eventually try to get it.
I mean,
I just have to learn the dodges.
On Astra's stream when she first played it the Dark Souls 3 the first time. I don't know how we did it
Yeah.
though. I just remember it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I agree,
It's interesting
Zippy.
that you say that too for like for strategies where it's like the strategy here, like the best strategy here is to not call for help or do the thing that seems like would be like advantageous for you, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because like that's the same thing that I tell people whenever whenever they want to try to beat the Reaper in Persona 5, because that's as long as you're not doing it. Why? Come on, Trev. For the love of God.
I was gonna do it
It's-
in New Game Plus, but I stopped playing so I didn't burn myself out.
It's pretty easy if you know what you're doing.
Oh my God,
Um,
Lyle's here. Hi, Lyle.
Do we know Lyle?
Elizabeth
Lyle?
Schuyler, I love
I
that.
assumed you knew them because they had that nickname.
I was just about to say hi to Lyle and welcome to the stream. Do we know them from someone's
Oh yeah,
stream?
Lyle just dropped in my channel for the first time last week.
Oh,
Hi.
okay. Welcome, Lyle. I imagine you know who some of us are. You at least know who Melly is. We're Streamers Become Human, a podcast of streamers. You can get links to our channels in the thing below the About Us. But welcome. It's good to meet you.
The panels. I don't think we have an
Melissa
about
and
us.
Skylar.
Each one of them describes us. But
I love that song now. Oh my god.
Lyle and I bonded because we both love Hamilton. So
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, yeah.
My friend was really into Hamilton.
I can't wait to watch it. I'm super excited.
He bought tickets and drove like, I think it was like 3 hours. It shouldn't have been 3 hours, but it's LA traffic, so it took like an hour drive. Was
Oh,
gonna be, like,
so it was
3
like a
hours,
block
yeah.
away, and
I know that whole song now. Like I've just been listening to it.
it's so good. The whole
I love
soundtrack
it.
is amazing. Cool
Real
guy.
cool guy.
hey, cool guy.
Hi.
Good to see you. How are you today?
Well, I wanted to throw to you, Morgan. What have you been playing?
Well, so besides Final Fantasy VII,
game
because I
with
feel
that
like
lady who
everybody
has
is
really
playing
weird
Final
hand.
Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
I've been replaying, at least on my stream, Eternal Sonata, which is a game that I got way back in like 2007. And it's kind of one of the games that really got me, I guess, a little bit more interested in JRPGs. Like actually kind of knowing what it was. I played it on the 360, which at the time, like there weren't really a whole lot of JRPGs on the 360. I learned years and years later that there's a copy on the PS3, which is actually the one that I play on. But it's a really neat little game. It's got a really interesting storyline that I always say does the anime thing where it's half confusing. But it's actually really interesting. I love the combat, which is it's turn-based real-time strategy game. So basically, and like the more you level up in the game, it gets a little bit more difficult. You start out with something called tactical time for each character, and at first it's infinite. You can just sit and do whatever you want. When you move, the timer will go down, and if you stop moving, the timer will stop also. You have that much time though to attack the enemy, like, and try to kill them in as little time as you can, or it's turn-based. You gotta strategize on what you need to do during certain turns. Like, okay, I'm gonna attack with these guys. I'm going to use this character to heal or something. The further you get in the game, the less time you have. So eventually you get no tactical time. So as soon as it turns to your character, it's like, boom, the timer will start going down. And even if you stop, moving, it'll just keep going down. So that's all the time you have. And it gets harder and harder. Like, it goes from like 6 seconds per turn to like 4 seconds per turn or something, if I remember right. So it's a lot of strategizing, and one of the things that I just love about it, though, is that the whole environment's very bright and vibrant, and everything is music-based, and I think that's super interesting. But besides that, I got Rune Factory 4, so I'm excited to get back into that. I've been playing Animal Crossing, of course. And I want to get back into playing more Dragon Quest XI, because I love that game. But Rory is looking spiffy, isn't he? Yeah.
How are you, Trisket?
Also, yeah, hi, Trinsic.
2 Point Hospital.
But I'm actually been kind of really happy replaying it for my stream, just because I played that game so many times when I was younger, and it's a bit odd, but the voice acting's not awesome, but I love it. It's a really cute game, and I love games like those. So I was super excited to actually start playing it again. Rory,
I appreciate it.
We've
guys.
trained him well.
There's so much hype
This
in the
is
chat
bad.
about
Yeah.
your hair.
What have I been playing? Was that what you were asking me? Okay.
he's also very handsome.
You're the sweetest. I love you.
I love it.
So I've been playing on stream. I've been doing Mark of the Ninja. It's like my main stealth game. That's a 2D stealth game, which is interesting. It's not like most of the things I've played. I thought the real challenge of it being a 2D stealth game was going to be that there was going to be a lot of fast platforming, and that's not really true. But it is tricky. Although the one thing about it is, with other stealth games I've played on stream, like Dishonored, the whole point of Dishonored is like, here's some mechanics, figure out how you're going to finish this level, and there's thousands ways, right? Like there's like, everybody I watch play Dishonored plays it differently. Whereas when you have a 2D game, there's really just like this really small fixed number of ways of going about it. Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's more like a puzzle game, because you're not puzzling about, you're not trying to think of how am I going to stealth my way around this level. You're thinking about how did the developers design this level for me to get out of it. So the mentality is very different. But it is really good. It is very hard. I'm exceptionally bad at it. But we're sort of getting through it bit by bit.
Observation I had because obviously I watch you play it a lot.
Yeah.
I imagine it being 2D and having limited mobility and stuff, like, because like obviously with 3-dimensional, like with Dishonored, you can like teleport far over there, or
yeah,
teleport,
exactly.
It's like phase or whatever.
It's close enough to teleport.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. Yeah.
But in this one, it's like you only have those 2 dimensions to move. So I imagine it takes away the whole aspect and atmosphere of like, oh, I can hide in the bush 10 feet that way and whatever, as opposed to like side scrolling and be like, oh, I only have this area of darkness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I like it, but it's definitely like, and maybe it's like bias, but like I definitely prefer the 3-dimensional thing. Like, although I will be playing Mark of the Ninja again when I finish it, because like it's the kind of game that teaches you a new thing every level, like a new mechanic. And so then it feels like you're not really playing it until you play it again, when it's like, okay, then I'm actually playing it with the full set of tools. Fan theory, talk to lore. But it's a great game. The other thing I've been playing is Outer Worlds, which I wasn't going to play on stream because like I have a whole thing, like Morgan and Trev know about this. Like, if with a game where I'm going to immerse myself in the universe, I don't usually like to experience it for the first time with other people, just like about. Like I would rather just like close the laptop, turn off the phone, put on my headphones, and just immerse myself. But I was stuck on stream one night for not knowing what I was going to play. And I was like, we'll give it a try and see how it goes. And, like, it actually felt good to stream it. It felt way better than I thought it was going to feel to stream it. And, like, the chat was really patient with me. Because, like...
This is when he transitioned to variety streamer, guys.
Right, yeah. Because when I was doing, like, the character creation, it was taking some time. Like, because, of course, it takes time. If you want to create a character, you're going to be playing as them for, the whole, 50 hours or however long the game's going to take. And I was like, I hope you guys like character creation, because like this is gonna take some time. And they're like, it's cool, we loved watching this. Like, and I was like, oh, okay. It's like my community is way more patient than than maybe they were given credit for initially.
I love character
When,
creation. I could just sit there
Oh,
and
me
watch
too.
someone
when
do
Tiff
that for an
started
hour or two.
Code Vein,
No.
she
Oh
spent,
my
like,
God, Code
an
Yeah,
Vein.
that's
hour and a
what-
half in character customization,
It-
and like.
But the character
was it.
customization in that game is so great. You have to spend
Yeah.
that much time doing it.
It's hilarious too, like because talking to my it's funny seeing like so many different like viewpoints of gamers because like for me or Rory or Tiff, you know, or Ash, you know, we're like, okay, we're gonna take like a minimum hour to make our character probably. And my brother got Yakety Mac. Most of you guys know who he is in chats usually, but he he texted me because I was like, oh hey, how's Code Vein going? And he's like, oh yeah, it's pretty fun. And I was like, oh, so what's your character look like? How long did you take? My friend Tiff took like an hour. And he goes, oh, I probably broke the record in how short it took me to make this character. I just mashed the X button the entire time.
Yeah, so he went
And so-
default everything.
He has the most default, like generic looking anime boy character as in Code Vein, and it made me laugh so hard. Oh my goodness.
Walt, my
So-
friend, so much. I really appreciate that. It was. I was nervous doing it, Walt. I was very nervous through the process, so I'm glad it
But
turned
he
out.
sure
See-
does look good.
Are you getting all the
Amazing.
verbal affirmation today from chat?
The-
Rory?
Yeah, everybody's very supportive. I have
Now
to
you
say.
know
it.
you didn't fuck up. Because like if
Yeah,
you
now-
fucked
yeah,
up,
yeah,
then
exactly.
everyone would be
Yeah.
like, man, what happened? Like.
The
And like the
I,
difference between what you did and like what I do is I just like go and just keep going until it's all gone. Like he's
Right,
still
yeah.
on there, so it's like.
and in some days there are days when I wish I was as brave as you are, but I'm not. I can't do it. It's just like
I remember it felt really weird the first time I like shaved. Because I used to not always like have hair, like barely any hair right now.
Mm.
I used to actually have enough hair to where I could put it in like a mohawk and like faux hawk and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And like whenever people see me like that now, they're like, "Man, I can't believe that was you."
Sometimes I get that because at one point in my life I had a pixie cut for a few years. I mean, I liked it, but I really miss having long hair. And now, like the reason why I keep it now is because my hair grows at like what a snail would consider like really slow. So
I used to have a top knot, which I liked right up until the point
Oh, I
when
remember.
like
You
you
showed us
need
that
to like
photo,
take
yeah.
it out. Yeah, and then it's like it's a mess, and you need like a lot of product to keep it in place. Oh, I wanted to tell Walt's here. That's good. I'm glad Walt's here. I wanted to like specifically recommend Outer Worlds to Walt, but also anybody else who really likes like I don't love RPGs, but the like when Obsidian makes an RPG, they make the universe so compelling that even if you don't like RPGs, you get really wrapped up in the dialogue, and I'm already invested somewhat in the story. Like there's a moral dilemma that I'm at on stream right now that I was like I got to it and I was like, you know what, we're stopping here and we're coming back another time. Like it's actually like I'm actually significantly concerned about what I do in this one decision in the game. So I actually think Melly, the game would work really well for you. It's a more structured story than what Skyrim has.
So you're saying
And-
it's not Fallout 76 where it's just a yes man simulator or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in this one, you really do make significant decisions.
I've heard nothing but good things about it. Like it's just gotten rave reviews.
Yeah, I've been really
I know
impressed.
you
You can
were
get it on
really
Xbox
excited
Game
to
Pass.
play that game
Yeah.
too.
I'll have to wait till I get.
Yeah, it was. I was excited like before its release, and then I heard it was on Epic. It was going to be Epic Game Store exclusive for like a year or something, and I was like, well, okay, there goes all the excitement right away, just gone. And
I'll have
but
excitement
then
in 1 year.
yeah, and then someone was like, you can get it on Xbox Game Pass for PC. I was like, and then I looked into the streaming service, or not streaming service, but the subscription service. It's actually really quite a good deal.
I keep wondering about the Xbox Game Pass.
They
Get it.
I've thought about getting it
It
myself
was
for PC.
like it was better though, I think, because I remember at some point in time they pulled a bunch of stuff they had on there.
They pulled like Fallout 3 and like a couple
Yeah.
other games, which I was kind of
Shenmue is on there. It's not on there anymore.
Shenmue
I mean-
even was a heartbreaker because that's the third one is out and people want to replay the first two.
I can understand why they do that, just because, you know, if they keep everything on there, they're going to have a huge big list of things that are on it that you only pay like $5 a month to get. But at the same time, sometimes I think that's good because, you know, maybe you'll get more people wanting to get Xbox Game Pass because of that. I think Final Fantasy 15 might be on it now. I thought I saw an advertisement that had Noctis on it, so I want to say maybe that's on there.
They have a lot of great games.
Oh yeah. The thing that I think is funny about Outer Worlds too is because Rory and I were just talking about this the other day about how you know, Outer Worlds has done so well that maybe they will make other games. I'm like, oh good, so they'll just keep making the Fallout games that everybody wants.
Yeah, literally, because that's so Melly, I don't know if you know the lore, but like,
Tell me the lore.
so Fallout was this old, like, there was Fallout 1 and 2, which are these like interplay games. They're really old school computer role-playing games. They're like isometric, and they don't have a lot of the modern like role-playing amenities, but people loved them. Then they tried to make a third one, ended up kind of like running out of money. It was some complicated stuff happened, and they ended up selling Fallout, the concept IP, to Bethesda, who was making Elder Scrolls at the time. And so Bethesda came out with Fallout 3, which was good, but a lot of people said it lacked the writing quality that Fallout used to have. So Fallout New Vegas was published by Bethesda, but developed by Obsidian, which had a lot of the developers who worked on the original Fallout. And it's now widely considered the best new Fallout. And then,
like
you know...
Anthem could have been with multiple studios, but it wasn't.
yeah, it's a collaboration.
The untapped potential of unrealized potential.
So Bethesda went on to make more Fallout games, but fans really wanted Obsidian to make another Fallout game, but they couldn't because they don't own it. So Obsidian made other RPGs. They made a game called Pillars of Eternity and a game called Tyranny, which were both really good, and now Outer Worlds, which is like, for a lot of people, is like a lot of the things they wish was in Fallout, but it's not as expansive or as big, basically. I think it's really good. But yeah, Morgan is right. So if they keep making these games, these Outer Worlds games, you know, a lot of Fallout people might just, you know, make the step over and convert.
Well, yeah, because the thing is that what they'll be able to do is they'll be able to take feedback from their fans and see, like, okay, so they want this, they maybe want less of this. I mean, obviously, it's not like trying to cater everything to their fans, but they can really expand upon what a lot of their fans want as well. So they can just kind of look at those comments and be like, you know, okay, we're going to do this for our next game and make it really good. So yeah, like I'm actually like pretty hopeful for Fallout fans because a lot of people said that they weren't impressed with Fallout 4. Even less people were impressed with Fallout 76.
No, I heard
so when
Fallout
I heard
76 was like the best one from everyone.
Just like DMC. Exactly, you're right. But yeah, because like my brother is a huge Fallout fan. I don't know if he's had to have played Outer Worlds. I'll have to ask him. But yeah, because I think it's like really nice. I think we can be hopeful for Fallout fans, who I guess at this point will just be Fallout New Vegas fans and then just Outer Worlds fans, because I'm sure quite a few of them have just kind of transitioned over.
I think Bethesda has lost some of its good grace with people. You could debate whether it's justified or not, but a lot of people like Skyrim. Like, and truthfully, so many people bought Skyrim that I would say there's probably more. I think I know more Skyrim fans than I know Elder Scrolls fans, if that makes sense. Like, yes. Way more people started with Skyrim than ever played the other ones. I think
that was their number one. Like,
yeah, I think so too.
Bestseller game for like.
Yeah,
since in like the past like 10 years or whatever, wasn't it?
I mean, it probably has some sort of record for an RPG. Like, well, I mean, maybe prior to Witcher 3.
Yeah.
Like
Witcher. Oh my god.
Like RPG record.
That is such an interesting thing too. I guess like that's another thing that we could talk about in terms of that. The Witcher 3 was the third iteration in a game, right? And came out like 2015. And then 4 years later, after the show came out, it got such a big resurgence that millions of people were playing The Witcher 3. And were actually even buying the older Witcher games, even though, you know, Witcher 1 has not aged gracefully.
No.
I think that is so incredibly interesting, like in terms of like I don't think I've really seen that happen. Like I mean I'm sure there are some games that's happened to, but it wasn't even a remaster, you know? Like I don't count that like for a remaster, you know, because like obviously like a lot of people bought the Spyro trilogy, right? But like I wouldn't consider that in the same boat as like people who bought the original Spyros, you know, because this was a remaster that they did. This was just the same game. It was the same Witcher 3 that had been out for years, and so many other people were just like buying it again, or who had never played it before, and I thought that was so cool.
So to confirm on some numbers, they're actually pretty much right next to each other, as being very high. So Witcher 3 has sold a total of 28 million copies, and Skyrim has sold a total of 30 million copies. So they're almost like they're very close to each other in the list of best-selling games of all time.
And you said Witcher 3, not the Witcher series, Witcher 3?
Yes, Witcher 3. Yeah, and so, likewise, Skyrim is just its own unit. Right?
See, that's so interesting, again, because Skyrim's been out since... Okay, it was in 2012 or...
I think.
2011.
Okay.
Yeah, 11.
So it's been out since 2011 versus The Witcher has been out since 2015.
2015. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's super interesting. I want to play more Witcher again. My mom even wants to play.
I'm excited to see what she thinks.
Yeah, I'm excited to actually get a new PC so we can give her this one so she can actually play it.
So, Melly, you, of course, I think it's quite well known in this community, have played a lot of Witcher 3.
200 hours of Witcher 3 on Steam.
And that was your first one. That was your first Witcher. Did it because like I'm curious, because when I meet people who played Skyrim, just Skyrim, a lot of them don't go back and play the old ones, and don't even want to go back and play the old ones because they're dated. Do you have any urge to play like The Witcher 1 or The Witcher 2?
I think I will eventually. I got both of them when they were on sale for like $3. Yeah, $2.50 for both of them or something like that. I wouldn't mind revisiting it. I've heard the first one, the controls are atrocious.
So I actually did play some of it, and its stance changes is what you do. So like when you come across like say like an evasive kind of character like an archer,
that sounds like me.
It was better to change stance in order to hit them better. And then when you came across like a more brutish character, you would change stance again to counteract them.
That is new.
I actually want them to bring that back. I like the stance changing.
It's very interesting. You can only play it on PC controls because it was originally a PC game.
You can't use the controller on it at all.
You cannot. No. On The Witcher 2, you can.
With the UI.
No, you wouldn't want to anyways. Yeah.
Dog shit.
It would be super weird to do it. The Witcher 2 you can play a controller on though because it was on PC and I think it was on PC to begin with too, but it was definitely on 360.
It was,
which you have to use a controller on. That one's going to be a little bit more like The Witcher 3 than The Witcher 1 would be. I make fun of Geralt in it though because like Geralt's like really cool and kind of calm and collected most of the time. Like Witcher 3, he's very serious, you know. So you know, like he gets his sword out and he's like, you know, holding it like a normal person, and then here's Witcher 1 Geralt, who in one of his stances just has his sword above his head going like this. Like that's what he does. I'm not joking.
Like there's a gif of something like that.
Like I'm not joking. That's his stance, and I had such a hard time playing this game because I couldn't take it seriously. But it's good. It's good. It's different though. It's definitely different. So you kind of have to hype yourself up a little bit about it. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. It's just very different. But there's like choices that you got to make, and I really liked that. It's just the stances. The stances are a little hard to get the hang of, which I started getting the hang of them pretty quickly. So I'm sure you will. But I mean, I definitely would recommend it. It's fun.
Depending on top quality Oblivion voice acting right there, by the way. Carry on.
Depending on which one you'd want to go with first. I mean, because you could go right into Witcher 1 and play that one, and then go into Witcher 2 if you want to go by like chronological order. But it might be a little easier just to go with Witcher 2 first, maybe. But
yeah, I don't mind playing things out of order. I play Resident Evil all out of order.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
bother me.
So just to, I know me and Trev both answered it, but just to address Ice Dragon's questions, those are our mains in Overwatch at the time the overlays were made. So Trev mained at the time and still does, I would say, main Reaper overall. Morgan at the time mained Sombra. Melly at the time mained Orisa, and I at the time and still very much do main Mercy. So yeah, we played a lot of Overwatch together.
Yeah.
That was one of the main things we started out playing, and then it became Monster Hunter, and it was during that we actually did it for the podcast.
It's actually like super close to. I think it's past, but like currently now is like around 1 year of our friend anniversary is what we call it, or what I called it.
Yeah, we were actually playing today. Yeah, we started playing right around when the anniversary event started in Overwatch.
Yeah,
Back
exactly.
up, so it's been around.
And we loved it.
It
Walking
was
into a Widowmaker server was the humbling experiences I've had. I've gotten better at Widow. I'm like super proud of myself.
the Rory's alternate personality in Overwatch is a fairy warrior. Yes, that is. I honestly believe someone a fighting game player once said this about mains. Like whoever your main is, that's the inner you. Like that's who you really are. Is like because you got to pick that. Like no one makes that decision
you
random.
Resonate
right?
with them.
Yeah, exactly. Like they speak to you in some way. It says a lot about you, whoever your main.
The inner me is a hacker, apparently.
The inner me takes. Well, I don't know if it's pleasure, but like I heal myself by hurting other people.
That's the feeling he gets when he times people out for no reason.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
die.
What does Moira say about me? Because Moira's more of like my main now.
Yeah, that's true. You're more.
Yeah, you do Moira a lot more now.
I'm
Yeah.
supportive, but I will.
Welcome back, Lyle.
I will run away.
But you-
if danger.
Yeah.
You're supportive, but will also sting.
Hey, Lyle, welcome back. It's good to see you.
Moira's fun too. I was playing her earlier.
I'm curious.
I hurt as much as I heal. I think that's probably.
Yes.
Trev, because we haven't mentioned what Trev has been playing lately. So obviously you've been playing Overwatch with us. What else have you been up to?
So after I finished Persona 5, I was going to immediately jump into New Game Plus.
Wait! Don't skip Persona 5. We're gonna talk Persona 5, right?
Yeah, no, I will. It's just that. So currently, right now, I'm playing. When I'm not playing Overwatch with you guys or anybody in the chat, I spend my time just killing zombies in COD because I downloaded it for 150 gigabytes, and I was like, oh fuck it, I'm gonna play it if I use the.
You've been playing COD?
You got back to Call of Duty,
You've been
huh?
playing COD and not playing Warzone with me. I'm so offended.
Well, this is Black Ops 4. It's not Modern Warfare or whatever. But yeah, so I do that, and then if I'm not doing that, I'm either watching streams or like just chilling.
Hi, Trinsic.
What's it like jumping back into COD after you've been on like a long break?
Well, like I said when I got interviewed, I've played every single COD from Modern Warfare 2 up until Black Ops 4. That's like 15 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long time. It just honestly, it felt like I never left because like those skills don't deteriorate over time or anything. It's just because you haven't played it in like 20 years. Like I just pick it back up and I'm like, all right, cool. But, yeah.
I agree. Call of Duty still feels like even with Warzone, it still honestly feels a good bit like Call of Duty. Like that sense that there's something about the game atmosphere that just never has gone away. Honestly,
the only ones that wouldn't like technically have some difficulty to adjust to are like the ones where like you can fly or in space or some shit. Like the ones that nobody likes.
Right. Yeah.
Like
I never played. I stopped
like
at Black Ops
some other
2,
shit,
so I was like.
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
guess also since we're on the topic of Call of Duty, for June, PlayStation Plus, World War II is going to be free.
War II, yes.
I heard that. Yeah.
Oh, and so is Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Oh, that's
the real one or the fake one?
The fake one.
The fake one.
Okay.
The one that you had to pay 1,000 loot blocks, and then if you don't get Darth Vader, then you got to pay more.
Yeah.
I'll probably get it just to have it. I mean, because if I ever wanted to try it out, at least it's free.
Wait, so Trevor, let's back it up. I wanted what was like your overall review and experience playing?
Oh, so I was actually gonna make a video on this and like post it to YouTube, but I never got around to it. So I guess you can get to the review now.
Yes, please.
I thought you were just gonna stop there.
No, yeah, that's exclusive content. You need to pay to see that. No, so I beat the game in like I think it was 70 to 75 hours, and I tried to do everything in one playthrough, and then Morgan was like, "You can't do it in one." I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll show you," and then like you actually can't do it all in one playthrough.
Never doubt Morgan's opinions.
Look, I mean,
I watched Trev stream like the first 7 hours of that game, and the first palace that he's in.
I tried to do it
I
in
was
one
like,
day, and she kept going,
yeah,
"You
so,
can
like-
leave," and I was like, "Nah."
Yeah, so you have SP, you know, and I was like, Trev, you should actually, since like you found a safe room, you should probably actually leave and come back the next day. He is like, nah, I can do it. It's fine. I'm like, Trev, you've only played this game. You haven't played this game once. Like, you need to you need to leave and recuperate. You have 0 SP on all of these characters, which means you can't heal at all. He would leave, and then he would die, and then go back to his last save. And I would again be like, Trev, you need to leave. You know, it'd be a great thing to do right now. Leave the palace.
No,
and-
no, I was like, I'll just keep going. It's fine.
He did that so much, and then finally he's like, you know what? I think I'm gonna leave. Like, oh my god, what a good idea. Where did you get
two
that?
hours after the fact, Morgan's been like, "You shouldn't leave." I was like, "You know what? I think I'm gonna leave."
Oh my god. But because it takes like some strategy about it. I mean, when you've played a few times, like for me, even on Royal for the first playthrough, I beat the palace in probably 2 days. But that's because I've played it a million times, and I know what to do to conserve my my SP. Also, Royal is a lot easier than the original Persona
Yeah.
5, which I'm a
You
little
were
bit
telling
disappointed
me.
in.
Because like you
Yeah,
get
it's
unlimited
easier.
ammo and like you regenerate health after every fight or whatever.
I can't remember if it was that too, but they made it easier. Some of the parts you can just gloss over some of the enemies, and I would just fight them anyways. 'Cause I'm like, I want the experience. This is easy. But there's supposed to be that kind of strategy because SP is really actually important in Persona. Because if you have items, like that's fine, but like you have to spend money in order to get the items. Some of them are not very easy to come by, especially SP items. So you don't want to just use a bunch of them, like and say like, oh, here's one that restores 100 SP, and then you're gonna leave the palace in like two more bosses or like 2 more battles, for example, because now you've completely wasted that thing because you're gonna come back the next day with full HP and SP again.
Yeah.
But you also need to make sure to conserve it, or if you need to leave for the day, you need to leave because otherwise you're not going to fight. Like some of the enemies, for example, are immune to both like physical attacks and gunshot attacks, which means if you don't have any
you
SP
have
to
to
use any of your
SP.
elementals, you're done. You're gonna die. So like that's what you kind of have to do in that game. Same thing with like the Reaper. Like it takes a lot of strategy. Some people will just go in guns blazing with the Reaper, and he's a really tough battle. Like one of the things that I usually say is you don't actually want to ambush him, which seems like the better thing to do because that gives you an advantage technically. But if you let him ambush you, even though your attacks are do a little bit less damage, you can use a move that will up basically all of your stats for 3 turns. If you are surrounded, that's the only time it'll work. And he only has 1 attack per turn instead of 2 if you ambush him. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into it. I definitely recommend the game. But it was really cool actually just being able to watch somebody else stream it. Because I was like, I'm finally the expert on something. Oh my god.
I was actually like surprised how much I enjoyed it when I first played it. Because like I'm not like a huge fan of the turn-based games, and then though I think
Play
the
Dragon
reason
Quest
I
next.
tried it was like was because I played Digimon, and like everyone was just saying that it was Digimon was basically Persona with Digimon instead of like the actual personas. And I was like, fuck it. I was like, I'll try it.
I gotta take a moment here just to address Lyle directly and say that I'm so glad that you watched Angel. It is my all-time favorite show. I recommend finishing Buffy even if it makes you sad because of the sharp decline in quality near the end. But I'm glad you watched
telling
Angel.
you that it's gonna hurt you, but you should finish.
Yeah, if for no other reason but to say you completed it. You've come this far, however far that you've come. I'm not sure how many seasons you got.
It's interesting actually though when Trev says that he doesn't like, because he wasn't that into turn-based games, and that's actually kind of a funny thing because pretty much everybody that I have talked to before they tried out different turn-based games had said to me, because I would say like, oh, I love these games like Dragon Quest and Persona, and they're like, I just can't play those games. Turn-based is just so boring. But then as soon as they try them, it's interesting because it really catches them, because usually it's a lot of strategy they have to put into stuff if you want to survive. I love turn-based games. Anytime like I hear a game has turn-based, I'm like, I'm gonna try play this.
I like turn-based in certain scenarios. Like I wouldn't say I'm huge on turn-based, although I don't like object to it. Usually it's more I don't play turn-based games because of the kind of games they are, as opposed to like specifically because they have turn-based. But I love grid-based. I think grid-based systems are
Me
terrific.
too. I love grid-based, turn-based tactical strategy
Systems. Like I love
that
X.
and the DLC for Digimon actually. It's like grid.
Oh really?
Ooh.
Tactical
Cool.
stuff.
I think grid-based systems are incredibly fun.
I didn't actually
think,
like that version of like playing them. I preferred turn-based in Digimon as opposed to the grid.
Oh okay.
You might not like Digimon Survive then, because I hear that one's actually going to be grid-based, turn-based, from what I've heard.
I think I saw some of the gameplay for that,
Hi, Tater.
but yeah.
Wasn't there some new
was
Mario Rabbids? Mario versus Rabbids Kingdom Battle?
Mario versus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. And I'll be very honest. Like, I thought it was a joke at first when, because my brother and I saw a poster for it. We're like, that's a funny render of something. That must have been, like, fan-made. And then E3, the year that it came out, it was I can't remember what year, like E3 2017, I think, or 2018. My brother and I were watching it, and we were watching the Ubisoft conference, and out comes Shigeru Miyamoto with one of those little blasters, and he announces this game, and we're like, oh my god, it's real. I have it. It's actually really fun. It's actually a really fun game. It's wild, so if you really, really don't like Rabbids, I would not recommend it, because they go wild in that game.
It looks like fun. And honestly,
it's actually really fun.
I got shit from my friends when we saw the trailer for that. We were all watching E3 together, and I was like, "That looks like fun." And they were like, "Yeah, right, Rory. You'd play a fucking McDonald's game if it had XCOM controls in it."
Hey, why not?
But it looks good. Guys, go watch Zippy if you want. If you want to know about Gears Tactic, go watch Zippy. Das Pinhead. He's awesome. Sorry, carry on, Morgan.
But yeah, like I actually do recommend that game. Like grid-based tactical strategies are really interesting, actually, because it's not just, and like obviously I'm not saying anything bad about like any other kind of game that doesn't have this, but like with hack and slash, for example, like you kind of sometimes go in just guns blazing. I guess not really gun blades
Just
blazing. But it takes actual strategy, like especially if you're playing on the harder difficulties, like say for Final Fantasy, for Fire Emblem, and like Disgaea, for example, or XCOM, like you can't Final Fantasy Tactics. Yeah, there you go. It takes actual like thinking. Like you got to think things out when you're playing these kinds of games. Because if like say for example you send your healer, like your little healer who's not really that leveled up, say like from Fire Emblem, out first with nobody else near them, they're gonna die. Like that's it. And you have to be really careful, especially if you're playing games with permadeath in them, which I believe XCOM does. And if you play on certain difficulties for Fire Emblem or the older Fire Emblems, it's all permadeath, which means you lose those characters. So you have to be, you have to actually strategize, and I think it's interesting. They're fun.
So for those people who haven't ever played an XCOM game, I do recommend the 2013 game XCOM Enemy Unknown as like a good starting point. That's good for beginners, but doesn't compromise on what makes a good strategy game. And if you want to really frustrate yourself, name your soldiers after your friends, and I promise that works. Like, it makes you want to keep them alive. So you'll be like, I can't lose this guy. This is my buddy, you know. And a lot of streamers I've seen who stream the game.
I've heard you say that before. I was like,
it's a trick. It works. Like, a lot of streamers actually will name characters after their viewers, as like some of their like really like common viewers. I think it's really cool. It makes it like kind of fun for everybody because you kind of end up rooting for yourself, even though it's just like it's an AI, right? But you're rooting for the AI that is you. Hi, Dip. How are you? It's good to see you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Sai's done it before too. Yeah.
But yeah, so
guys, go watch Tiff right now. Like, she's not on right now, but go, you know, follow her. Page, right?
She was playing Soul Silver.
I may trigger people when I say this, but so I understood the general story of Persona 5, but I'll be honest with you, I like fast forward through a lot of that dialogue.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
I watched the cutscenes, but like everything that wasn't a cutscene, I was just like,
you TLDR'd your way through Persona.
I skimmed it though. Like, I was just like skimming. I was like, okay, all right.
Nobody though. It surprises no one.
But you know what that says? It says that because like the story is like quite a non-trivial part of Persona. Like, I watched Morgan play through almost all of it, and like, it was awesome, by the way. But like, that's, to me, the fact that Trev skipped it indicates that you can still enjoy the mechanics of the game without engaging with the story. Like, it's still good enough a game that it kept you playing that many hours, even though you presumably didn't know who most people were.
Well, I understood like the characters because there's like introduction cutscenes and like specific things that you can't skip without skipping the entire sequence. I did watch those and like read that stuff.
It was always funny to me whenever he'd ask me questions because he'd be like, "Yeah, I'm trying to level up the fortune teller girl, reporter person, the chess person."
It was just descriptions, and I was just like,
I'd be like, "Okay, Hifumi, Chihaya, Oya." I hated Oya.
That's a good question for Morgan.
Game mechanics in
I do not
JRPG?
play JRPGs, so I do not.
My favorite mechanic in a JRPG. Okay, for like a non-actual like regular game mechanic, I actually really love it in games. I guess any game, but in JRPGs, I really love it when if parts of the armor, like parts of their clothes don't change at least, but I actually love it when like different parts of the character change depending on what you equip with them, like their weapon changes and like maybe like
cutscenes, like when it's
not, I guess not just in cutscenes, but like anytime a character has like a different, like all the weapons that you can have, like they change depending on what you equip them to. So like it's not going to be, even though you have like this something called the God Sword or something, like for example, but it just looks like their regular startup wooden looking sword since the beginning. I tend to really love it when things change. I also love it when you can do costume changes. I actually really like that too. But I'm gonna have to think about the JRPG, like an actual game mechanic, though. I mean, I always really like it when you can, when you have different skill sets, and you can get experience for fighting games. I do like being able to level up and grind. I guess. Oh no, grinding. I guess I do like grinding in games. I'm just used to it, I guess, because of that. Yeah.
If it's done right, I feel. Because
Character
there's some
yeah.
times where if you grind in a game, it's just like a drag, and you're like, I don't want to do this.
It has to be a satisfying enough gameplay loop.
Yes, where you don't get bored and hate it.
Like, I think one of the best examples of a game that had like repetition, but it didn't feel like repetition, is honestly Monster Hunter World. In terms of games I've played, like it's like, oh, I didn't get this, you know, part that I wanted from this monster, I gotta go do it again. But it's not the same fight, right? Like, it doesn't always feel like the same fight. Maybe you try with a different weapon, maybe you have different people with you. Like, it's like you can do the same thing in Monster Hunter, it doesn't feel like doing the same thing.
I need to make this hat.
Very
but I didn't get
the grind
kill this
aspects
thing
of
80
JRPG.
times.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that's true actually. Because every time we would play, like, you know how sometimes with a lot of different like bosses in certain games or enemies that you always know the cues with them. Like I've played this game, like I've played against this enemy so many times that I know when I attack them for this amount of time, they're gonna do this thing, and then I can like it's kind of like the same thing. Like so,
literally me in Bloodborne. It's like
yeah. So since they're gonna do this,
it's this, and then
yeah,
this,
like I'm gonna do this to stagger them, and that's the same thing over and over again when you grind it. But yeah, actually, like with Monster Hunter World, sometimes it's just different because we don't always know what they're gonna do. I suppose.
Sometimes it's just us fighting Rathalos, and sometimes it'll like be Raytheon's here now too, and then
like
I'll
oh
go
god, here's
and be like here's Dojo
here's
now.
two
Like,
other enemies
shit.
that are now fighting all of each other.
I like what Tiff said about the character interactions and
I was gonna say that actually.
romancing the waifus.
I actually, what Tiff said, I actually kind of want to change my answer now because that is because I actually forget about that. But like that's one of the reasons why I love like sim games, like farming sims, like not just like The Sims where you just can create characters and make them do a bunch of stuff. But I actually really love when there's like a narrative to the characters, like in Fire Emblem, for example, like Fire Emblem Awakening. And most of the Fire Emblems now, I guess they kind of have added this in, but there's kind of like different things that you can do when you replay it because you can basically like pair characters together, and you can have them interact with each other, and eventually some of them can like get married and fall in love. So it's really interesting to have all of these different little interactions with those characters, and then when you play again, you can completely mix it up and do them differently. But I do really love character interaction where you can tell that like there's like a friendship growing with the characters or something, or like making certain characters fall in love with each other or becoming friends. I really like that. There's a lot of stuff going in. What is the male equivalent of wife? So proud.
Why do you know that so fast offhand?
Oh, it's so
I was gonna say senpai, but then I remembered that Morgan, like 3 other people told me that senpai's like a teacher, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
What? Oh, hey Zeph. What Morgan was saying and what Tiff said reminded me of something though. Like, I think the character interactions really resonate with some people too because like I remember when Morgan played through Persona 5 on stream, she had people vote on like what character her character was gonna like try to date, right? And people were so passionate about their choices.
They were making campaigns, weren't they?
I remember this.
Like they weren't even playing, right? This is one of the reasons I think JRPGs actually are like secretly like some of the best stream games that I don't think people realize, like because people actually in the audience really do get invested in the character interactions. Like Tater wasn't playing, but like however many friendship points I have with Tater, I have like at least 3 or 4 less than I should have because she was upset that I didn't pick Makoto in the poll that Morgan had. So like, yeah, like you know, people really get into it.
That's
and I
like
think
that's the eternal debate in Witcher 3. That's always Yen or Triss. Like,
Yeah.
that's
That was
literally
the
the
central
number one
part
problem.
of that game was people arguing about Yennefer or Triss, like the whole time.
It doesn't matter. Like
See,
you can come into a stream with like the first question, Yen or Triss, and then if you say one or the other, it's like, all right, you don't
Same
have
thing
my
with
respect.
Final
Final
Fantasy. Everybody's
Fantasy
like
VII,
Aerith
oh
or
my
Tifa.
God.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Oh,
The,
poor
uh,
Jesse isn't even in there. Aww.
Oh yeah.
I voted for
Well,
Triss.
Ash's chat has a lot of Jesse
Yeah,
loyalists.
me and Andrew
Yeah,
are
there's
fans.
Yeah. And John Anakin.
I'm
yeah,
fans
like,
of all
I
three,
actually-
to be honest. Like I don't.
But yeah, I actually really love that because, like, now that you say it, like The Witcher, for example, like, not only is it really cool for the narrative, like, you know, you get to figure out like different interactions with all of the characters, but it's fun in terms of the replayability because you can be like, okay, so since I did this the last time, I'm going to try something different this time, and then you can be like me and just marry the same person over and over again in Fire Emblem Awakening, like I did. Crom. He's the best.
I think that's a good point.
Like me
too.
and bang everybody and then get in trouble for it later.
I want to see Melly stream Persona 5.
Lily would do
watched
that. She'd
cutscene.
romance.
Exactly, yeah.
She'd romance all of them because you get jumped on Valentine's Day.
So
Uh,
one thing I was kind of disappointed with in Persona 5 with like the romance option was that like it didn't really seem to matter a whole lot.
So actually, that's actually a really good point that a lot of people had an issue with, because in Persona 4, I can't remember for Persona 3, but in Persona 4, whoever you chose to romance actually kind of did matter in the end. But in Persona 5, they didn't bring it up at all. So a lot of people are actually kind of, in terms of Persona fans, they were disappointed in that. So I can understand that. I hope they change that in terms of Persona 6 when and if that comes out. I love Rize. She's so cute.
I'm glad Zeph brought up Skyrim as well, because that's also, even though like I would say that romance is like very much not usually a central point of Skyrim, a lot of people take their Skyrim partners very seriously. They
But yeah, like I love that kind of stuff because there's replayability in it, which I think is really neat. Like anytime a game has a lot more in terms of like, I guess like with the interactions between all the characters. I mean, because like I said, it makes for a lot of different playthroughs that you can do. But it's kind of neat, you know, that you're like, I gotta think about what I say to these characters in order to get them to actually like me. Like it's not just written in the game, like do these things to make this character like you. It's you have to actually figure out what to do. I think that's really neat.
So I mean, I really liked that I didn't see a lot of other games have was, I don't know how many of you played Shadow of Mordor?
I watched my cousin play a lot of it, so I
watched
do know.
It was like Assassin's Creed, but in Lord of the Rings.
yeah, a bit of Batman in there too for
and
a little bit of healthy Arkham Asylum. Yeah.
It had a nemesis system, which was like if you killed a certain person in like the army, the next person would go up and then like they'd become stronger because that one person below them was murdered, and then they could no longer be killed by how you killed the person that was below them. So like kept building to where the point you got to the generals, it was like, oh shit, well I've used every way I know how to kill somebody, and now I gotta like either cheese this out and figure it out, or
yeah, that kind of stuff I actually find really interesting too. This is a kind of a funnier story in terms of Mordor. So my cousin, I was watching him play it because he came over to our house and he was playing it on my brother's Xbox, and he was the type. This you cannot do this. You know what? I'm going to pause for a second, and I'm going to let Rory have the floor.
Rory, let's hear this.
I don't have a good answer for this. I don't have an answer. I don't have a husbando. I don't even play JRPGs. I don't watch anime. I don't.
Right,
I'm the worst
from
one.
any game you've played. Is it going to be the guy from Dishonored? I assume.
No, it definitely is not. I gotta pick a husbando on stream. Are you kidding?
I
This
was
is awful.
husband though.
No, I don't think it's husbando. I don't know how to say it. I don't even know how to say it.
I think it's husbando.
But you knew the term.
Yeah. I knew the term. Yeah.
It's one of the words you always see in text, but people don't.
Okay, so I gotta pick one.
Anytime I've
so,
heard somebody
like
say
when I
it,
said,
they've said husbando.
Tara, and it's really terrible.
cool guy. Thank you so much for giving this up to Lyle. I appreciate that, and I'm sure Lyle appreciates it too.
Like, did you guys know that? Like, I know they did.
Wow, you got
like,
the emotes now.
Tara.
I gotta pick a husbando. I don't know. I don't know what criteria I'm supposed to use.
Her points for this.
Tiff is amazing. Every time Tiff comes into one of our channels,
it
always turns out wonderful.
That's why I made all those redemptions.
Let me think. I don't know.
Used.
Let me think. Hold on, I'm gonna try to give you an honest, good answer.
The narrator from Tekken.
The what?
The narrator.
The narrator from Tekken? No.
He could bore you to death with his unappealing.
I don't know. I guess Rayloff of Riverwood in Skyrim.
Of course, he picked somebody from Skyrim.
Because like you start off Skyrim and like you've got no friends.
Not even a
and,
Jarl?
like, people want to put you in jail for no reason.
Wait,
you know, like no reason.
Dude,
you're just in jail because you're at the wrong place at the wrong time. You know. But Rayloff like wants to help you out and he wants you to not get your head chopped off. So like that's cool. Like he saved me at the beginning of the game. So there you go. There's my answer. I hope that was good.
Oh Jesus.
This is so good. I love this so much.
Thank you, Tiff. I love you so much.
All right, and you can't pick Rayloff of Riverwood, right? You don't want this war. Trust me. All right.
Look at you started, Tiff.
Too many goddamn games I played. I have like non-character and like antagonist or protagonist.
Yeah. Yeah, back off. We're territorial here.
I was really gonna say something, but I wouldn't want to do that what you call it.
Oh, Morgan, that was mean. That was mean.
No, that actually helped.
It was the lowercase m, Trev?
No. It'd probably be Virgil from Devil May Cry 3.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah. That was
So originally I was gonna troll with the answer and say Rory, but
Oh my goodness, I don't even.
I've already been selected in chat already, so you can't say Rory.
No, that'd be like the forbidden fruit. That'd be the pomegranate of.
I don't even remember why what I was pausing for now.
Morgan meant the reboot version. That's with the lowercase.
Yeah,
so if you guys don't know, the standard sort of canonical way of writing this is DMC is the reboot, and DMC with all capital letters is the original.
A lot of the ways that people write it is like this.
All right, first of all, his hair is silver.
That's how usually they write the reboot.
And I don't think they tell you how old they are, actually.
No, they don't. No.
I just know
that
they were kids, and then like they were adults.
This is like a Witcher situation where he has like, silvery hair, but we don't know how old he is.
Well, we know Geralt's at least like a couple 100 years old, isn't he?
Still need to get to 5. Cool guy.
It might go on sale.
It'll probably go on sale. By the way, for anyone who doesn't know, the GOG is having their summer sale right now, so you can pick up deluxe edition of Prey for pretty cheap. Also, I didn't know this.
Before Rory does.
You can beat it before me, exactly. Yeah, and you can have eternal bragging rights. Also, you can pick up one of the most interesting things I saw is they have Metro Exodus, which, if you didn't follow the story behind Metro Exodus, it was supposed to come out on Steam. And if you did pre-order it on Steam, you still got to keep it, but then they just didn't release it on Steam, and Epic bought it in sort of classic
Exodus
store
the
fashion.
one they gave out for free on Epic a while ago?
Because I don't think they gave it up for free, but it's like the new one.
The one I got, awesome. I think, was 2033 or whatever. Redux or whatever.
Yeah. That's like one of the older 2 ones, and so Exodus is now on GOG and it's 50% off. So if you guys want to pick up Metro Exodus for 50% off.
What's up, Tom?
Tom mentioned Spore is on sale. Spore is awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
Morgan knows.
Honestly,
she's seen me play it at her house many times.
Yeah.
We should all get into Spore. We should all create a character, like a species, and be friends.
Rory's already got that down.
Yeah, I've got a few. Yeah,
I was super into that game when I was like 12.
Yeah, I can't believe that you were 12 when that came out. But
well, I don't know. I think I was like in 8th grade or something.
Whoa,
Tater.
So okay, first of all, thank you, Tater. Thank you so much for gifting 5 subs to the community.
S_Arg.
In particular, there I recognize Ray, Vove, and Fairhurst.
Kai.
So for all those people who just got subs, you now have the emotes. You now have the sub badges, both of which were designed by Trev. They're awesome.
Yeah, the stages you go through are different parts of Monster Hunter, and then the emotes are just like inside jokes for.
Just like assorted, mostly inside. They're actually, they're inside jokes and a logo. Fallout 3 Complete Edition. Thanks for the heads up. Oh yeah, no worries, Tiff. I definitely recommend picking that up on GOG. And if anybody here has any questions about modding or anything like that, Like you just send them my way. I'm actually thinking about
okay.
making a modding tutorial.
For a second, I thought you meant like channel modding. I was like, don't delegate to me. you
No,
asshole.
no,
I was like,
no,
I'm
like-
answer these people's
Like
questions.
modding games. Yeah. Especially if it's going to be Skyrim or Oblivion, because I can help you out there in particular. Okay, guys, just popped in for a minute. Gonna head out. Thanks for the stream and stuff. I may return. We'll see. Zeph, have a great rest of your night.
Hi, Zeph.
Real cool guy. I do stuff like just if I need to. Like I don't like sell my services. Like I don't go on Fiverr and I'm like, yo, I'll make you some like cool looking shit. And
Yeah.
usually it's just like needed base. So like I only remade all these outlines and stuff for because the other ones I made were like too large of a file, so I had to redo them. And usually it's just stuff that we need, not more or less. Like it's.
Have a good rest of your night, by the way, Tater. I look forward to seeing you throughout this
Night,
week. Hopefully, we'll get
Tater.
to play some more Overwatch soon. Tom.
Yeah, I don't know why I phrased it like that. That sounds like a mercenary or something.
Yeah, stuff really does look good. The overlays and the emotes and the sub badges, they all look sick. I really like the sub badges actually. Like they really look like there's like they really look like perfectly unique, you know, like but they're also recognizable. Mercenary, yeah, that's what we're all thinking, Tiff.
And
Alright.
like I had to choose them because obviously we need a time period to like improve on. So I thought because different monster parts were valued at different things, I was like, alright, we'll just go with that.
What, Tater? I feel like you've been VIP here for a while, but I'm not sure.
No, the only people who are VIP'd here as
I know Ash was an early
yeah, it was
one.
Ash, Zeus, and one other person. And then yesterday when I was doing stuff on this account to like add emotes and change some stuff, I went through and added like 8 more VIPs.
Pepe.
Yeah, so you have VIP now, Intrinsic has a VIP now. I'll be honest, I couldn't fucking tell you anyone else. I added like 10 people, but I couldn't tell you all 10 of those people.
Good night.
Fuck
Tater.
yeah. Is he a light little guy? Every time you pick him up, I'm like, is she
Yeah,
just
he's 10
is-
pounds.
is Melly just really
Oh,
strong that she can do it with one arm? Or
He's like a dumbbell.
oh, he's yellow.
Oh yeah, I think Andrew's VIP.
Pepe should be a VIP.
Yeah.
Pepe should be a mod, to be honest.
You can just bark at the trolls.
Look at what a little guy
her dog's
he
name is
is.
Pepe.
Pepe,
Yeah, the
and he
Pepe.
speaks Spanish.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
he understands. He's bilingual. He understands English and Spanish.
And he's such a good boy.
And he's a Bichon, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I was about to be real embarrassed if I got that wrong.
Yeah, very good memory. It's a Bichon Frise. We think he's a stray that we found.
He's a good guy.
I thought I saw Pepe redeem his own channel points for injury.
I guess. We should probably talk some gaming news. We were gonna get.
Oh
my
news
God.
that-
We have
totally
articles
forgot.
this time, yeah.
We've been doing this for an hour and a half?
I know. That's why it's like I looked at the time. I was like, we haven't even gotten to the gaming news yet.
For those who don't know, like, we've shared many conversations over the time that we've known each other, and, like, it really does fly. Like, this just felt like us, like, hanging out. Like, I totally forgot what was going on.
I think that's what makes like this work so well. Is that like we just talked for like an hour and a half and like it felt like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
literally did.
So we have a few things that we could talk about today. I mean, there's we actually have quite a few things.
I want to start with Melly's, if that's okay,
Alright.
because
See, it's
we were
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we actually watched that today, so I think that would be a good idea.
So today.
Good night, Tiff.
Good night.
Good night, Tiff.
And go follow Tiff, also known as Talera, one of the best streamers on the platform.
She's been on
currently
here
doing
twice.
Nuzlocke Run. She's also playing Deep Rock Galactic with
You can
me,
watch
and
those
it's a great time.
VODs either on YouTube or if they're still on here.
And the
I don't know
Talos
if they
Principle.
are.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. You can find us on YouTube. Tiff has been on, as Trev said before. So you can find her interviews in the playlist there. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so today we watched the PlayStation State of Play for The Last of Us Part 2.
I'll go ahead and put this in the...
So it was 20 minutes of like a trailer, some overview of the gameplay and mechanics, and then there was actually just a full cut of a scene like highlighting all the gameplay that we had never seen before. So
yes.
They've been doing these like state of plays one by one. I don't know that. I assume that's intentional because they had this state of play for Ghost of Tsushima. Like,
I honestly think it's a little bit easier because Nintendo does kind of the same thing where what they'll do, because there's Nintendo Directs. What they do is they'll have a Nintendo Direct that's like just like, I don't know, for example, like January 2020 or something. That is just a big string of information on new games being announced or just games that have been announced and just doing more information on them. But there have been times though where they will do like a Pokemon Direct that is all about Pokemon. And I think that actually helps at times because that way they can just focus completely on that game. Because they did, like you said, they did one for Ghost of Tsushima. Now they did one for The Last of Us Part 2. So that means that they get to do just a whole bunch of information just for that one game. And I think at times it does work out a little better.
I do like that it was
the E3 announcements or something.
They've been in depth.
Yes, they're really in depth.
It allows you to really highlight what's anticipating what's going on with the game.
And I like the gameplay selection of what they choose to show.
Yeah, I like that it wasn't like it wasn't really spoilery. Like there's
it really wasn't.
Yeah, like I thought they did a really good job of highlighting the different aspects of the game. I mean, I am really excited. It looks like a lot of the things from The Last of... I mean, you guys know that's one of my favorite games of all time, but it looks like they improved so much. Like the combat, like the crafting system, like the little skill tree. Like it's just like everything from the first game was just like beefed up and even more of that. So I'm really excited about it. I think, yeah.
I'm honestly actually very excited to see because I know that there was like the PS4 remaster of it, but I am so excited actually to see like when the game fully comes out and we can just get as many screenshots as we want. I'm actually really excited to see comparisons between 2013 Last of Us and then 2020 Last of Us. I think that's going to be really cool because I love stuff like that.
Because this will be on Unreal Engine 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
This is on the Naughty Dog engine. Naughty Dog has a
that's right.
Proprietary new iteration.
They do.
Of their engine,
yeah.
Which I assume is like the equivalent of.
He's here.
And everything is just everything in the state of play today was just incredible. They even showed like parts that were from basically the very end of The Last of Us Part 1, and they had just completely redone them in Last of Us Part 2 style. And that's one thing that I'm actually excited to look up because now we actually do have the differences of those, and I can see it in my head, like because I just watched Ash play the rest of this the other day, and just the part of her like laying on the seat in the car, I can already see like how different it looks. And
that's
so
what's exciting
cool
about these games coming out the end of the generation of the PS4, like with Ghost of Tsushima. With this game, it's like you're gonna really see like the possibilities, like and the like basically like the pinnacle of what's possible on the PS4.
Welcome back, Zippy.
So I think it's I'm really excited about both of those games.
So I have a question for you, Mel, considering that because I've played some of the game. I think most people know that because like I am not good at that game, but I love it. I like to watch it mostly. That's why I get really excited when people actually like play it on stream because it's like a movie for me. It's like one of my favorite movies. I know I'm gonna play it sometime, like all the way through. I'm just bad at it, but from somebody who, because I also really love it, but from somebody who's played it so many times, what? I guess I should ask. There's two questions here. What were you most excited for? Has it been shown yet for what you've been like really like looking for in the new game? And what was your favorite part of the state of play? Like seeing something new, I guess.
Well, the most exciting thing, I don't know if it's okay to say it. I guess it's not really spoilery if it happened in the thing, but the first 5 seconds of the gameplay that we saw is Ellie swimming in water, and I don't know why that just made me so happy, because I was like, that's been this lingering question in my mind, like, did she learn how to swim?
No more finding a pallet.
I know. So now we get to, explore water in a new way with this game. I mean, obviously, like, to me, I really like story-driven games. So anything where you get to see a character's journey play out, and I always think, whenever I was explaining this game to people and never played it before, I'd say, like, it's like the HBO of, like, games in terms of storytelling and characters. Like, it's just so well done, it's so well written, which is ironic because now it's going to be a show on HBO.
Yeah.
But, like, that's like to me that was like the level of the storytelling. But
doesn't that also mean the like last telling of it's gonna be trash?
What was that? Oh, hopefully not the last season. The season 8 curse. No, hopefully not. I still think it might be a mini-series, which I feel like mini-series have a better chance of not screwing things up, because
I think that would actually...
There's a definitive end to it, as opposed to a regular
Sometimes those
TV
are just
series.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although the danger is sometimes successful miniseries actually do get turned into full series. It doesn't happen all the time, but it has happened. Now, the one time that I'm thinking of in particular ended up being a good thing for the series, which was Battlestar Galactica, which was originally a 2-part miniseries, which became a 4 or 5 season show. But I doubt that'll happen.
I was excited to see a lot of the mechanics that I enjoyed from Uncharted 4 have made their way into this game too, like the stealth and hiding in the grass, swinging around on the rope, and like a lot of the things that are really fun and dynamic about Uncharted 4. I think obviously Naughty Dog continues to learn from itself.
What's
the same people.
Oh yeah. What is something that you want to see in the game that you, as far as you know, is not really a mechanic in the game yet, or like I guess like story? It could be anything: story mechanic, game mechanic.
That's a good. I mean, I think they hinted at it in the voiceover, but I really want to see new monsters, or like new stages of infection.
Creatures, yeah.
From the infected. I think they hinted at one of them, and they said there's like more exciting ones to come. I think like maybe it's just because I've been playing a lot of Resident Evil lately. Like I'm just like really intrigued about like the infected designs, because I think that's one of like the more unique and interesting things about.
I feel like that's a given though, because it's like. You have the typical monsters or like the creatures like clickers or whatever, but like if you just put those in there again, it's like, well, we know how to deal with them and stuff. So like if you don't see the evolution to stuff, it's.
I don't know if it was possible. They made the ones we know look even more terrifying.
They did, like the bloater.
Clickers, bloaters, clicker. They're already terrifying enough. They somehow managed to make them like. I don't even know why. I can't exactly define what it is, but like having played the original game, I'm like, oh, I know how to deal with that bloater. I know how to do that clicker. But there was something about the way that you're interacting with the fighting. I was like, it felt scary, like all over again. Like it doesn't matter that I've killed, how many bloaters.
Yeah, it was like 100 of them before, but like now.
I think that's what brings like a new I think like a new feeling to the game, because like obviously nothing against Uncharted 4 here, because it's one of my favorite series, but especially in like 1, 2, and 3, like when they eventually brought in like stealth, like that really helped like kind of change up the game a bit. But eventually like they got different kinds of enemies, like the ones who have the shotguns, they're a little bit more armored, that you have to maybe maneuver a little bit better against them. You can't just shoot at them point blank if they're right near you, because they're going to kill you right like in 2 shots. So I like when they do stuff like that, because like say in terms of like the first Last of Us, if they only just have the same enemies like they did in the first one and the second one, you're kind of gonna know what's gonna be happening. Like what you said, like I know how to fight a bloater, I know how to get past this thing, but
you'll probably
especially
breeze through it way too fast. So
and the fact that they're already hinting at that some things are going to be changing is pretty hopeful. But in terms of the narrative, also in terms of like the actual storyline, because the game is already in terms of the first game, is already 20 years into the outbreak, and of course, like as you know, the thing about the bloaters, they are people who have been infected for like a really long time,
It's a rare form of the infection.
Yeah. And so now we're going like 5. I think it was 5. Yeah, she's 19 now, I think is what they said, something like that. But like, so it's like 5 years into the future. So who knows like what else has changed, you know, in terms of what the infection has like mutated into. So I agree. Like, I think that's going to be something that's going to be interesting, whether or not because they already said that the runners or the stalkers, one of them, they said that they were going to be changing up a bit.
I think it was the stalkers.
Yeah, that they're a lot scarier.
I think one aspect of it that I'm curious to see how is they mentioned that it was open world, but I don't know how open world it can actually be, because the story-driven aspect of it, it's like you have to take these characters on a specific journey, and so
that's actually why I like it too.
Yeah, well, much like Uncharted 4, I think Uncharted 4 did the best in making you feel like it was open world, even though technically, it really, like, you can explore and find all different kinds of things.
The Madagascar part, really, especially.
Right. So like controlled areas of it are open world, but it's not truly open world. And so
kind of like Final Fantasy or the newest God of War.
No, I wouldn't say. Well, I mean, the only Final Fantasy I've ever played is 7. I wouldn't say Final Fantasy 7 Remake is very open world. Because
Final Fantasy 15 is open world.
Okay.
Well, no, but I'm saying, like, would you think it'd be more like that aspect of?
I hope it's more
expansive. Kind of like you can go around, but not really.
If it's more expansive, I'd like that better. Because in Final Fantasy 7, there's
literally alleys. There's literally alleys you try to walk down and you can't. Because they're like, warning, turn back. And I'm just like, no, why did you put this alley here if I can't go down it anytime
I hate that kind of stuff. I'm like, why'd you put it here if there's nothing here?
Yeah, just take it away. I don't want this alley.
But so, like, I think what that would do then, because that's the difference between it, I think, because, like, a lot of people, especially now, are like, I just want an open world game. And I'm not always that way, because I feel like when it is really story-driven, you can't have too much.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's now going to be Days Gone. You know, like Days Gone was open world, and it ends up changing things. Because,
I've not heard.
Yeah, because I feel like if
it came out.
Because I feel like
it would be weird to like fast travel in Last of Us. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't fit with what I think what the game wants to do. So I'm okay if it doesn't go full on open world. I just want it to, like, they already mentioned, like, obviously she's gonna be having a horse, so it's probably gonna feel a lot more expansive and open than Last of Us did.
I think if the way they do it is like what you said, like that they have a controlled open world where like you're in, like, say you get to a new city, you know, like you can. I keep bumping. I have my legs up on the back of my desk. But, like, if they have it controlled, whereas that you can just, like, you're in, like, a new city, and you can go around to certain parts of the city, like, maybe you get to each place a little bit differently, which is okay. I feel like that would be a lot better, because it gives you the feeling that it's open world without it taking away from the narrative. So that's kind of what I'm hoping that they do. And I actually do like it better when games can be like that, because sometimes I feel like it's not all the time, because, like, look at a game like The Witcher. But again, like, that is a bit more controlled open world at times, too. Where that one is open world, but the narrative doesn't suffer. But sometimes when it comes to... I mean, maybe other people would disagree with me, but sometimes I feel like games that are completely open world, the narrative can suffer a tiny bit.
Like Skyrim? Would you agree, Rory?
Yeah, I actually think that like narrative is one of Skyrim's weakest points, and not just because of like what it usually gets criticized for, right? Which is like because like the writing isn't as high level as the other Elder Scrolls games, but because of what Morgan is talking about. Like in Skyrim, it almost feels like the narrative is the one you create. Like I always talk about that, right? Character focused versus
you choose your own adventure story.
Yeah, like Geralt is Geralt, right? You're playing as Geralt no matter what. You can't choose not to be Geralt, right? In The Witcher, you're living the story of Geralt. You can make choices along the way, but it's always going to be Geralt. Whereas in Skyrim, you're the Dragonborn, and that can be like they don't write you a story.
It's more like the story surrounding you instead of the story about you, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. Skyrim is more about the universe, and The Witcher is more about Geralt. I would say, like, right, and
at this point, I definitely think it's like with The Last of Us, it was for part 1, it was mostly about Joel and Ellie, not about the people around them and the area around them. It was about them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think that's what really helps those games, because there are just some games that are narrative driven, and that's okay.
I don't prefer games like that generally, but I think that the reason why The Last of Us was as big a deal as it was is because it has like, I actually think, like, what Melly said about HBO, it's not just a comment on quality and on storytelling. I think it's a comment on what it means to people. Like, people can embrace it because of the kind of, like, people who didn't care about fantasy and stuff like that loved Game of Thrones, right? Like, it appealed to them because of the kind of story they were telling. I think The Last of Us is the same thing. Like, people I know who don't care about zombies care about The Last of Us because it actually tells a story they find compelling.
Yeah, and I actually, like, I do like games that are like that better, just because I'm more of a person that connects with characters. I mean, I definitely love gameplay, don't get me wrong, but what I usually look for is connecting with the story and the characters. That's usually what I tend to do.
I think the only time I've like ever felt connected to characters where I felt like strong emotion was Spider-Man.
Oh, I was just about to say Spider-Man, actually. That's
because that, like, so, like, Rory won't know this, but like towards the end.
No spoiler. Wait, hold on. All right.
Oh.
Well, I wasn't gonna say that like someone died, but like
Karen's here.
Something happens, and then like it's a real depressing like moment, and like I swear to God, I almost cried.
Oh, I bawled.
I was like
full
this
on
close.
Just started
I was like, don't do it.
Oh, I bawled.
Are the spoilers over?
Yeah,
you're fine now, Rory.
They
Everybody in chat needs to keep quiet.
I have not played Spider-Man because my PS4 is in London, and I'm sad about it. But I will play Spider-Man. I'm very excited. Morgan is very excited for me to play also.
You could stream.
I even have the Spider-Man.
It's a stealth game.
That's my Spider-Man statue right there.
Mine's over there. Next to the Sekiro one, whatever that game is.
We had a whole discussion, Karen, about JRPG waifus.
Yeah, we did.
It had its ups and downs. The good news is
two of us
Karen,
got singled out.
You can actually watch all the old episodes on this YouTube link. So that playlist will be updated with this episode soon.
This one and the
I'm not gonna like. Don't let me, because it's Trev who actually does the work. I shouldn't be saying like it's gonna be up soon. It's up to him.
Generally, I do every 2, so it's not just
every 2 episodes, right? Yeah.
Except for the time we did the interview of everyone on the cast, because that one I wanted to put up as one whole series.
The long and short of it is that I taught Tiff what the word husbando meant because she asked what the equivalent, the male equivalent of waifu was. In like anime, a genre I don't watch, and JRPG is a genre I don't play, but I happen to know that word because of the internet.
And then she asked him who his husbando is.
Yeah,
and it was
like
Richard.
I've got a girlfriend. I don't need a husbando. Like, what?
Richard's another VIP I added.
I love you.
I love you too.
Hey Richard, how are you?
Yeah, cool guy. I spent hours just swinging through the city, not even doing quests when I was playing Spider-Man. I just swing through.
That's actually a really good question, Lyle. So I think for me, when it comes to spoilers, if it's a game that I am playing on my stream especially, even if I've played it a million times, I actually don't like it when people talk spoilers in terms of story for a game. But I actually personally, I don't like spoilers because I completely understand what you're saying there, because when you hear about a certain thing for a game that you've never played before but that's been out for a little while, it makes you want to play it. But anytime I barely even watch trailers for games because I like getting into a game with basically as little knowledge as I can. So I'm actually the kind of person that does not like spoilers at all. So that's me.
For my own part in it, no, go ahead, Trev.
Because when a game comes out that I'm looking forward to, or like anything, it doesn't have to be a game, it could be a show, it could be a movie, whatever. I immediately find out everything about it, so then that no one else can spoil it for me, because I spend a lot of time on the internet.
You spoil it yourself, but you want control over it.
Yes, as long as I'm doing it, I won't be pissed. But if I see it, like, so YouTube has this terrible algorithm of if you search for one thing, it keeps it, and then it's like, oh, you know what? We'll show you this, and it's like spoiler in the title. It's like, why?
It's like, hey, you wanted to see the trailer for this game? Okay,
yeah,
you
like,
watched
well,
the trailer.
Here's the ending.
Got it. Here's the ending.
Yeah, it's like, what? Why?
I hate that. And I actually like. I just tend to not read up on things, because every time I tend to read up on something, I actually will then think to myself, oh, that's cool. Oh, I wish I didn't know that now. I wish I could have just had that happen to me while I was playing it and figure it out instead. So I actually, even then, I still don't like reading up on spoilers.
For me, like, it in my stream, it kind of depends. Like, I don't care if someone comes in and spoils the ending of the main story for Skyrim, not just because the main story for Skyrim isn't good, but because, like, I think that, like, a lot of, like, what I do on my stream is predicated kind of around already knowing what Skyrim is and what the whole point, because a lot of what I do is, like, here's how to economy build, like, knowing all of this stuff, and here's how to do this because this quest is coming up or whatever. So I think that's part of the appeal. But for story games, I would definitely be like really pissed if someone came in and spoiled Outer Worlds. Like, and I've gone after spoilers like Trev for certain things, like with Star Trek. Like when a new Star Trek trailer is released for a new movie, I'm like frame by frame, like looking at it. Like I spend like a day analyzing everything about the trailer and looking for like little Easter eggs and stuff. Right? And Elder Scrolls, like, you know, when the teaser, there was like a 10-15 second, how long is it, Trev, the teaser for Elder Scrolls 6? It's like,
you mean the pan
like,
of like the landscape?
It's like, yeah, the one panning shot. Yeah,
like 12 seconds.
Like, I've devoted like many more seconds than 12 to looking at that, right? But I don't know. Yeah, I guess it depends on the franchise for me. Melly, what's your feeling on that?
I am anti spoilers. I do like, kind of similar to like what Karen just said. I feel like when you spoil something for someone else, you're stealing from them an experience, and that's not something you can ever get back. Like you don't have like, especially with, I mean, primarily with story driven anything, whether it's movies, TV shows, games. Yeah, I think part of my thing is like, I want to take the journey that this story wants me to take. And so I mean, I totally understand people like Trev, like I think there's plenty of people like where that's not as important to them, and that's totally fine. You can get spoiled or whatever.
Well,
but
I just think it's like it's very popular now, especially if like on a platform like Twitch, where like people will create usernames. Like I remember when Endgame came out, people were coming in, oh, Thanos kills everybody, and it's like, what do you get out of that?
Yeah.
So
spoilers for Endgame.
The other thing
I do think there is like an aspect to statute of limitations on it, like, yeah,
I agree. So what I was actually going to bring that up, because I think there is a certain aspect to it that you have to be careful of. So if you're just in a chat, right? Like, say I was sitting in Ash's chat. Now, remember, guys, so just so you guys know, I haven't played all the way through God of War. I have not played all the way through Red Dead Redemption 2. I somehow still don't know the ending. So if you guys could be okay with not spoiling that for me, I would be super happy. But there's another thing, actually, that I was going to bring up in terms of Melly, actually, because there's actually a few things I was going to talk about. So, when Melly said statute of limitations, I completely understand that. If I was just sitting in Ash's chat, doing whatever, hanging out like I usually do, and somebody came in and said, big spoiler on the end of God of War. I have not played all of God of War, so I don't know. But that's not for me. That's not for, like, everybody in Ash's chat to watch out for. Like, oh my god, is Mapsio Morgan in here so I don't talk about the end of God of War? Like, at that point, that's my own fault, because I should have played the game by now. It's been out for a few years. So if somebody just comes in and starts talking about a game, that's not their fault. That's on me. Now the other side of that though is if you're just talking to somebody and they've played like a lot of the game and you haven't, and it's even if it's been out for a really long time, if you're talking to them about, yeah, I just started playing that, and they start talking big spoilers on it, and you're like, yo, I haven't played this game yet, and they're like, oh, well, it's been out for like 20 years. It's like, okay, but I just told you that it wasn't, that I had never played it before, you know? So again, I'm not going to spoil anything big for Melly here because she still has not played the first Red Dead Redemption. So I'm gonna tread really, really people who spoil 20-year-old games.
Well, like that's the thing too about like I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I've somehow managed to get through this whole playthrough without people spoiling major plot points for a game that's been out for 23. I mean, the original one came out 23 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, on one hand, I want to protect myself from spoilers as much as I can. Like, I'm not going to read up on anything. Like, I'm going to try to go into part 2 of the remake blind.
Mm-hmm.
But I also do understand, like, it is a game that's been out for forever. So I can't fault people if I'm in the vicinity of spoilers happening.
Exactly.
By default.
Like,
so
that's what I was saying. Yeah.
And I'm lucky because I'm surrounded by a lot of people who also want to protect me from the spoilers. So even when, like, I was kind of in a minefield being in Ash's chat, watching her play Final Fantasy VII. Because it's just natural that people will want to talk about the original one. But I'm just lucky because she locks it down. She's like, Sugar's in here, don't talk spoilers. So I'm lucky that I have people that like still want to protect my experience. But I also I'm like, I probably shouldn't be hanging out watching this.
Yeah,
but,
so like that's the thing, because like that's what I was getting at.
Me. That's kind of on me if I
you
see
were
something.
flirting with danger, like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I
I'm
agree with what Cool Guy
I'm
says.
playing with fire. I'm playing with fire.
Can I read what Cool Guy says here? Because I think it's worthwhile. There's basically unlimited content out now just because something's 20 years old. Doesn't mean everyone has had a chance to consume it. I think Karen actually echoed that same sentiment earlier.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
Think about
Like
it. There's so many remasters and stuff that's like, oh,
yeah.
I wanted to play this back then, but now I can do it on whatchamacallit.
That's an excellent point, because that's how a lot of people experience games for the first time. This is Melly's first time with Final Fantasy VII. Is a lot of people's first time with Spyro. Certainly with Resident Evil.
But yeah, like, so like what Melly said, like it's our own fault for being in the vicinity of somebody talking about it. It's not their fault that they just wanted to talk about it. They didn't know that like we had never played it before, right? So I was talking to somebody one time, and this is the other side of it, where I think it's totally wrong to do this to somebody, even though the game's been out for a long time. And again, Melly has not played the first Red Dead, so I'm going to extremely like gloss over what these spoilers were, because I want to protect Melly very bad because I know she wants to play it. So Red Dead 2 was coming out. I had never played the first one before. I had watched.
By the way.
Oh my god. I had watched my cousin play a little bit of it. I know that he really liked it. And my very stupid reason for wanting to get into Red Dead 2 was because the character's name is Arthur Morgan. And I like any game that has the name Morgan in it for the main character, so I want to play it. Plus, I really like history and the Wild West, and I actually don't know why I'd never played the first one, but this one looked really cool, so I wanted to try it. And I had been talking to somebody about it, and I was like, yeah, I had never played the first one, so I'm really excited to play the second one because I heard it's a prequel. And they're like, oh yeah, the first one's such a good game, blah, 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 blah. Big spoiler. And I was like, I just told you that I hadn't played the first one and I don't know what happens in it. So why did you just tell me that? Like, I just told you that I'm so excited to play the second one because it's a prequel, then I can play the first one after. That's something that people need to watch out for. Like, as soon as somebody says, I've never played this game, I don't know what happens, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm going to tread really lightly because I don't want to spoil this for somebody. So that's the difference, I think. Like, what Melly said is so valid. Like, if you're just in the vicinity of somebody talking about it, I can't be like, yo, I've never played that game. What's wrong with you? Like, they don't know that. But as soon as you tell them and then they still spoil
if it says in your stream title, first blind playthrough.
Blind playthrough, yes.
Maybe
don't.
I think there are
away
like twisted people
Yeah.
who actually seek out those like blind playthroughs and like go in there just to troll.
I agree with Trev. I don't think very few times have I witnessed spoilers by accident. I really do think. Like,
Yeah.
I think
Like,
most of the time when I watch
Ash were
spoilers,
here,
it's
she would
actually
tell you.
intentional.
Like
Yeah, Ash. This is
every
happened
new
to Ash.
game that's come out,
Yep.
Ash has played on
When-
stream, spoiled within an hour or two.
When Ash was playing Jedi Fallen Order, and someone came in and they basically said, "Have you got to the part where X happens?"
Mhm.
I don't believe that was an accident. Like, it just seems so unlikely. Why would you open with that if you know it's someone's
Yeah.
first time playing? Like, most people think to be like, "Oh, have you played this
That's
before?" Like,
the clip Melissa had, her most proud clip, the spoiler law.
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
that-
yeah, that's
one
my
Shadow of the
favorite one of
Colossus.
one of the
Ash's.
best clips on the platform. Like,
Mhm.
and like, it's become so much a part of our vernacular that people even say like, "Oh, like if they're gonna say something, they're like spoilers for whatever," right? Like, I don't think it happens on accident very much. It does happen, but I think it's rare.
And even then, like, you have to tread lightly. Like, don't be like, this game is so sad. I love it. It's like,
That's literally
Don't
what they were
tell me
doing
that.
in Shadow of the
Well,
Colossus. They were
yeah.
like, "Yo, this game is like so sad at the end." It's like
hey, I
Yeah,
didn't even know
like,
that.
I don't remember
Um,
asking you, but all right.
Like, yeah, you could get that.
What's
answer
the
with
last thing you did in the
yeah, yeah.
story?
Oh, what did
That's
you
a
just
really
do?
good one to do.
I like
Zippy.
to
That's
say,
actually
what quest are you on? If I see someone playing Skyrim,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
what quest
that
are you
or
on?
like,
And it'll give me an
oh,
idea.
what chapter are you on? Like for
I
Final
have,
Fantasy.
I have to
Like,
share
oh,
this
what
clip.
chapter
I
are
have
you
to
on?
share
Yes,
this
please
clip.
share the
I think
clip. I really
most-
like-
I think most people know this clip. But just
It's my favorite. I'm gonna watch it because it's my
This
favorite.
is how I
clip.
feel about spoilers. It's one of the most.
I remember being there and like sitting there and like I felt bad because like I didn't know any spoilers because I didn't play the game. So like I couldn't have
It's
prevented
my-
it.
It's my favorite thing at the end too, when she goes, "The whole class goes down."
Yeah,
And then
I
she,
agree
and
with
then she
Ice
like
Dragon.
and then she like mutes
Um,
herself or whatever.
I really wanna highlight what Zippy said because it's so true. Like, because like Zippy was like, you know, this is my first Nintendo console, right? So there's a lot of these classics that are remastered I haven't played, and I also think for a lot of people who are Nintendo gamers, like the whole way up, now a lot of the Switch ports that are happening of like PC games, this will be their first time playing those, like DMC or whatever, right? And I don't know if Jedi Knight's probably out on that thing.
Switcher
And like, yeah, exactly, yeah. We got Witcher and like
and
Diablo,
Skyrim,
3, like a whole
and,
bunch of
yeah,
stuff. Like,
literally
it's
all
crazy.
these
Skyrim,
games,
yeah. Like, so like for them, like that'll really be their first time. Even though, you know, like Jedi Knight is not a new game, DMC 1 is not a new game. Like, it's new for them.
Yeah, it's new to them. This can I'll briefly mention this, then you can continue what you were saying. But
Yeah. Do you think?
this can tie into because lately we've been having discussions about exclusivity in Rory's chat, and I actually
Yeah.
had an article about it for like news.
Oh yeah. Let me drop that article in the chat. Okay.
Yeah. So
There you go.
there it says Bloodborne PC release is in the works rumor. Now that's 99% probably gonna be false because Bloodborne is
It's very
Sony
rumor.
IP, and that made them a lot of money with the PlayStation. So the fact that they might like sell it and put it on PC, like it's happened with other games like Horizon Zero Dawn,
And the same thing now is going to be happening this summer with
Neo,
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding. A lot of these games are now timed exclusive, but like certain ones like Bloodborne and like Demon Souls are Sony IPs, so they own it.
Which-
like they're not gonna.
Which, and I'm actually okay with that, you know, because all it is, like, I understand that some people just, most people probably can't afford to buy all the new gen systems, you know, that come out. Like, I'm lucky because, like, a lot of the times, like, I would just save up my money and I could get them, or I ended up having, all my older brothers would give me, like, the hand-me-downs on things. And just because of that, I was always into those, so I would just eventually get those systems. But some people, you know, like they can only get a PlayStation 4 because they can't afford to just drop more money on an Xbox and a Nintendo. One of the things that just recently happened was with Kingdom Hearts 3. Well, Kingdom Hearts 3 first came out on both PS4 and Xbox, but I was so disappointed, which now they actually have all of the Kingdom Hearts games on Xbox, which I'm really happy about. But they had just brought out Kingdom Hearts 3 for Xbox. But not the rest of them. I was really disappointed with that because all they were doing was Xbox players who had never had another system, like maybe they didn't have a PS2 or a PS3 to play these games
They were
on.
so lost. And like it's not
Yeah,
like it's
they'd
just
just be
1, 2,
lost.
3, and you understand.
Yeah.
It's 1,
Yeah.
2 chain of memories on this,
Yeah.
There's a
You
whole
gotta
bunch.
play
and
so many
3.
of them.
Yeah, if
And
you
I
play,
was-
you'd definitely be very
Yeah.
confused.
And I was so disappointed at, that they hadn't brought them out for the Xbox players to be able to experience the whole game, because I feel like Xbox players, even though they had fun with Kingdom Hearts 3, I don't think they really got the full experience because that PlayStation players did, because they had been playing those games, like even on PlayStation 4, they had been playing them for probably at least a year to a year and a half. I can't remember when 2.5 came out on the PS4. But they had already been experiencing them for a long time. So I was always a little bit disappointed in that. But now they have them on Xbox. And the way that I am with things, like even if they want to have them exclusive for a little while, I understand that kind of thing. But I just like it better when people have when people just have the opportunity to play games. Like I would love it if Nintendo would like expand a little bit for people, like maybe put some games on PC or something, because I would never just be like, well, you need to get a Switch, Like I want people to be able to experience all the games that I love and see why I love them, and maybe in turn love them themselves, you know?
Exactly. I think for me, the feelings about exclusivity on things like Sony, I feel a lot more comfortable with that than I do about things like Epic Store exclusivity, because what happens with Epic Store is a game is made and then Epic uses their Fortnite money to buy it and say it can only be sold here. Whereas Sony, when they give a developer money, like they're often a big part of the reason that game gets made. Like, a lot of those games wouldn't exist if Sony didn't back them. Like, Bayonetta 2 would not exist. Like, it's a Switch exclusive. Or not a Switch exclusive. It's on the Wii U.
It was on the Wii U.
But, like, that game wouldn't exist without Nintendo, because no one else wanted to fund a second Bayonetta game. So, like, I'm okay with that, because they're they support their games, right? But I'm way less okay when a game comes out, it's going to be on a storefront, and then someone comes along with all their money and says, nope, now it's only on our storefront. You got to use our shitty storefront that doesn't have a shopping cart.
And I agree with that, actually. Because like when they actually are putting funding into it, that's completely different, I feel like. Because they are helping with that. Versus just
as long as they like contribute
locking
to
it behind
process,
a door for no reason.
Instead of using it as a way to get revenue,
Yeah.
it becomes so much better. Well, Zippy, that's like Soldier Boy's console that you didn't know of until yesterday. That you can play Smash on. That is not. It's not Smash.
So for me, I've not played Bloodborne. But I've always said, I think during the interview that you guys did with me, I even said that I did want to eventually get to Soulsborne games. Even though I own a PS4, this makes it a little more palatable for me personally, because I just tend to prefer to play games on PC. That's like my ecosystem. Everything I have is on PC in a way. Like I have PS4 games, but when something comes out on PC, I like to get it on PC because my Discord is here.
PC is like everything's all inclusive. Like you don't need 18 different things. Like
lately now, I actually do like having things on PC. Because at least with the only bad thing about it is with my systems, because sometimes I do just like to, because I have this monitor here, my second monitor for playing console games, and I do have to turn on my Streamlabs and remember to turn off my stream remote on my Discord. But I do because that's what I do sometimes is I'll play my console games here with my headset on or just on my speakers, so I can still watch a stream on this monitor, or be talking to somebody, or maybe I want to talk to somebody on Discord while I'm playing that
be on the phone with Rory, yeah.
Or Melly, maybe. How about that? But because then that way I can still play a console game and have the PC, because I do talk to people more often on PC on Discord than I do on PlayStation.
No one's out here using PSN messages to have a full conversation.
Which is why I do like buying things on PC also, because then I have that, and then I still have both my monitors, which is nice. But yeah, that's probably my big reason for. Not to mention, I mean, with how powerful a PC can be, like playing The Witcher, playing even My Time at Portia is so much easier on PC because the load times are 0 basically.
Well,
Yeah,
supposedly
exactly.
that's gonna change for the PS5 because they're using.
That's what I've heard.
solid-state
Yeah,
drives.
it'll be interesting to see.
They're using a really fast
Yes.
M.2.
I'm excited to get it. I know I'll get that. I'll probably pick up the Xbox
So
much
no more
later on.
waiting 2-3 minutes for loading screens when on PC it's like, oh, done.
They
Well,
I'll be
Melly-
glad that they have that.
How long would you say you had waited for like a Witcher loading screen? Do you ever know
how,
like what?
how much of those 200 hours do you think were just loading screens?
Oh.
Probably 198. Just kidding. It did feel like as soon as I got my like first couple of long loading screens, I was like, I should have played this on PC. Like, what was I thinking?
Have you actually booted up The Witcher 3 yet on the PC? I don't know if you
haven't. I haven't.
I'll be
Because
really curious to see what you think of that.
I own all
yeah.
3 on PC, but I
That'll be a
haven't-
good
I think-
test for your new one. That's like a
that was something
benchmark.
that I
That's
noticed.
true.
I'm so excited, by the way, Melly.
Oh,
Me
so
too.
am I. Because that was something I noticed actually. Because like playing, like, and My Time at Portia by no means is like on the scale of The Witcher, you know. But like trying to play that on my Switch was like sometimes 5 to even 7 minutes of wait time in between loading screens, and then getting it on the PC was so much better because wait times were basically like 20 seconds felt too long at times. And it was, you know, because that's how used to it I got on PC. And then with The Witcher being, you know, The Witcher, it was so short. I think you'll love it. Like, just wait until you can play The Witcher 3 on PC.
The best
Plus, it's beautiful.
example I
Oh my
like
God.
giving is so we've all played Monster Hunter in here. On PS4, when you ready up for a quest, you can like go downstairs, grab water, you know, do whatever, come back, and it'll barely be loading in. On PC, before you can even ready up, it's done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the
Like, Jesus.
so we have to be winding down the show now, but I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming by. It was really nice to get to do like a old school style podcast.
Yes.
Taking it back to
Um,
2019.
Yeah. Which
A simpler time. A simpler
it
time.
really was a simpler time. 2019 feels like a long damn time ago. But yeah, I really appreciate everybody coming by.
Also, Ice, do you still want to redeem what you were gonna redeem?
Oh
Or
yeah,
the
Ice
person
yeah,
who
Ice
asked?
Dragon.
redeem a suggestion for
Oh,
a raid.
right. Yeah, I forgot about that actually.
Just
The,
a reminder. I don't know if they're still on or anything.
Now, I believe the channel point says suggest someone new to raid. So if you just suggest someone really whack, we have the right not to raid like Ninja or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, so like,
We have
Loading screens are for veterans.
Oh,
That's
oh,
actually-
1.3. Oh, I see.
no.
Save it for
um,
next time. Save
yeah.
it for next time, Ice Dragon.
In that case, I will write something here in a DM, which I'm narrating to you, the audience, for a reason of some kind.
Is always good with me.
What are they doing? Do you know? Or
Yeah, it's right there
I
in the
can
DM.
I can click on what's called it. Who plays with fans? What do you mean?
It wasn't a
with
singular
viewers, maybe?
question. That was a
I
connection.
think they mean that they play
I
with
read
their
the
viewers.
previous- I also read that. I thought that was just a question, like who plays with fans?
Oh,
I was like, wait.
And I was
what?
like, us, if you have enough
There.
channel points.
yeah.
Yeah. But
So we're gonna raid Kilroy because he's like been one of the biggest fans of this cast. He used to watch the reason why we uploaded all the VODs to YouTube is because he used to watch them on Twitch in VOD form, which is like, I don't know if any of you've tried to watch videos past broadcast on Twitch. It's terrible.
yeah, especially because like you get ads and stuff. Like if you're not like subbed and stuff, like
Yeah.
he watched Twitch VODs. That's how much he loves us. So we want to send some love to Kilroy. Super cool guy. He's on our team, True Variety. Check out True Variety. There's a link. You can get the thing. Is there a command? We're gonna bet to find out.
There should be, yeah.
Yes.
There's a command.
That is our raid call. Also, if you do /me and then streamers become raiders, that's usually what we like to do.
You can include if you guys have the emotes for the avatar for this channel, use those as well.
Yes. Yeah, cool guy. Kilroy's a friend. I play games with him from time to time. He plays Soul Calibur. Recently, he just got into it, and he's getting into Dragon Ball FighterZ. Cool dude. All right, everybody, thanks for coming by, and we'll see you next week.
And Zippy, I saw what you put, so yeah, we'll take note of that.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Bye, guys.
So, see
Bye,
you guys.
everyone.
All right, I hit it. Oh, he's BRB.